Sportstime is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin and Brett Stotts Norsworthy.
And a very pleasant Thursday afternoon, September 16th, 2021. To you, however you're listening, wherever you're listening, we welcome you in. We want you to be a part of our show between now and our close at 6 o'clock. You can always get in the zone at the AutoZone text and phone line at 901-360-8255. So proud to have AutoZone with us and glad to have Gabe Kuhn with me today. This is not the maiden voyage of Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. That doesn't start really until Monday, October 4th, with Dave's moving to the morning and semi-quasi-retirement status. But you got a special edition of it today, Gabe Kuhn. How are you, Big 71?
I am fantastic. I'm excited for us to start on October 4th. It's going to be a great time. But I am doing well, man. I'm doing well. I'm sort of pulling the long shift today. But I'm not talked out yet. I'm not talked out yet.
Don't get talked out on me, because if you collapse, there's nothing I can do. I can't pick you up.
Brian can handle me.
I'd have to call a tow truck. There's nothing I can do. If you fell out there, I would be of no help to you, Gabe Kuhn. But I'm glad you are with me today, and I'm glad we're going to be together. Dave's last day is going to be Thursday, September 30th. That Friday, he travels to Philadelphia with the Tigers for the Temple game, between travel and then getting settled there. So Thursday, September 30th, be his final day. He launches 10 to 11, Wolo and Friends, on Monday, October 4th. I'm going to be with him every week. He's going to be with us every week. We might have some replication of the same guests. So really, just put it on WHBQ, AM 560, 98.5, and you can catch all of us anytime. And we are looking forward to a newer lineup, a little bit of a shake-up, and we hope everybody stays with us and get some friends to grow our audience and for us to have more of you out there listening to us. That's what we want. Also tonight, Thursday Night Football, right here on 560, 98.5. Giants at Washington at FedEx Field. On the call for Westwood, Ian Eagle, and Tony Boselli. Gabe Kuhn, I saw Tony Boselli play one time. It was that strange year of the Tennessee Oilers in Memphis in the season of 97. He came in with the Jags, very highly acclaimed. I thought I saw the masterpiece, the perfect offensive lineman that day. He was his career injury marred. Right. He's been up for the Hall of Fame a couple times. Don't know if he'll ever get there. If he hadn't have gotten hurt, he would have gone down. Eric Williams with the Cowboys, but for the car wreck, could be in this argument too. Those two, I think, would have been the best offensive linemen I've ever seen play.
And Tony Boselli was just so physical in his day, and just being able to maul guys. And he had a little bit of finesse in the pass game, but he's a guy, if he would not have gotten hurt, easily in the Hall of Fame. Even without it, there's been the debates because while it wasn't a long career, it was a very, very influential one. So I don't see why they need to keep him out. But
I don't either.
But
when he played, he was among the best.
Yeah, but I can see where longevity is hurting his case.
Yeah, and look, everybody can't pull a Bruce Matthews. Everybody can't pull a Anthony Munoz, Joe Thomas. Who, I don't know if he ever missed a meeting, much less a game.
He's got the snap record. I don't even know the number. It's so unbelievable. I'll have to check on it. But
Gabe, who was the offensive lineman when you were 8th, 9th, 10th grade, and you knew you had a future at playing in the O-line? Who was the guy that you looked up to?
So two that I look up to at the time, and obviously when you're growing up playing O-line, not a very what's the word for it? Not a very sought-after position. Not all that sexy, I guess.
It ain't quarterback.
Yeah.
But unless you play center, you're not touching the ball.
The two guys that I looked up to were Joe Thomas, just because of how good he was and the longevity and how he was the Iron Man for a team that was absolutely terrible, and I had so much respect for that, just to go out every game, be the best left tackle that he could be, and still be on teams that were 2-14. You know what I mean? They were just awful. And then also Tyron Smith, who's still going now. Injuries are starting to catch up to him, but Tyron Smith with the Cowboys was always the guy I looked up to out of USC. I remember when he got drafted, I always tried to sort of mock my game after him, just because of how technically sound he was, but granted he's 6'6", 320 pounds, and has a six-pack. So I wasn't built like him, but I definitely took some things from his game.
And once upon a time in St. Louis, I bet your dad could confirm this. And he is in that He is in that discussion as greatest offensive lineman ever. Dan Deerdorf.
Yes, absolutely. And actually a good friend of my dad's.
Is that right?
Yes, they are friends with each other.
I did not know that.
And I didn't know that. And then also, I forgot to mention one guy, Orlando Pace. Pace. My gosh, just to think about him in college, too. That will never happen again.
It was a great story that it was a long contract holdout for Orlando Pace, and he finally signed for what was then obscene, gigantic money that we couldn't believe. It wouldn't be anything now. It'd be the deep snapper now.
Right.
And Dick Vermeil brought him out the first day of camp, and he said, "Everybody, meet the new owner of the team, Orlando Pace."
He was so good. And what did he finish, fourth in the Heisman voting?
Is that right? I don't recall.
I have to check it. Bryant, you could probably check that for me, but I'm pretty sure he finished fourth in Heisman voting. That will never happen again. And then getting into the NFL, he was all that and more, considering what the expectations were.
You mentioned Tony Baselli and the longevity thing. That's probably what will get him. Here's one that had longevity and had that great career, had one devastating injury on the Warren Sapp play on a Monday Night Football game from this area, from Martin, Tennessee. His mother's side of her family, they all live in Forest City, so I always watched his career very closely at Tennessee and then in the NFL. I think Chad Clifton should be in the Hall of Fame. But there's no advocacy group out there of put Chad in the Hall of Fame.
I was going to say, yes, great player, but there's no – it's kind of funny. There's no one out there who pushes for him like Tony Baselli is pushed for. And
not many linemen get advocates. Stop the log jam of wide receivers. Let's get some in and break that. And there's always the running back, maybe a defensive player. You poor lineman, you never have people out there fighting the good fight.
You know what, Brett? And this is why I love you so much. You love old linemen.
I do.
You always advocate for us. You know all the names, where most people don't. That's why I love you.
Yeah, we Gabe, I once was an offensive lineman in Little League football.
How many plays?
In Little League football, a lot of plays. I was center in Little League football. So I was, center in Little League football is a lot like right field, isn't it?
You didn't have a bunch of. And did you have weight limits at that time?
Oh no! It was everything. Everything goes.
Okay. By the time I got to Little League, it
was a whole lot of technique.
I don't want to say this. They discriminated against big guys when I was in Little League. If you were over 100 pounds, you couldn't run the ball. You put these big old orange stickers on your helmet, and yeah.
My good friend Alan Klein was quarterback, and even back then we joked, smartest kid on the team's quarterback, dumbest is center. so I was the center. We've got a lot of football to talk today. Bill Bender from the Sporting News, always with us on Thursdays. He will join us at 3:30. Keith Smith on the NBA at 4:00, and in 2 weeks, camp's open. Russell Copeland at 4:30 on the NFL and on Tiger football, and from the Tiger sideline at 5:00, Greg Gaston. We have an all-star list of sponsors of that, including a new sponsor today joining our team, Wilkinson's Liquor and Wines. Thank you so much. Also South Hall Cafe, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, Mid-South Hobbies, 3A Collisions, and Neil's Bar and Grill. But Wilkinson's Liquor and Wines, thank you so much for being part of our team. And at 5:00, they help bring us Greg Gaston from the Tigers sideline. So our Cardinals, they are now.
Oh gosh, Brett, I don't know how to feel.
I do. George Lapidus used to man these airwaves, and the Cardinals would get in a good run, and he would come on the air, and I'm really close to it today. They're now 76 up, 69 down, 145 played, 17 to go. They'll have to play in the wild card game. Then they'll have to win the 3 in the LDS, the 4 in the LCS, and the 4 in the World Series for the 12th World Championship. Another parade down Market Street. I'm here today to say the Cardinals are never losing another game. 29 straight to end the rest of this year, and another World Series title in St. Louis.
Wow.
That's
something.
That's all I can say about that.
Cardinals never losing another game. I feel it.
That's
after the sweep in Gotham, you know good things come out of Cardinal wins in New York, whether it was Terry Pendleton way back or Adam Wainwright and Yachty in the 06 LCS. You win in New York, you can make it there.
Did you guys see that gnarly game on Tuesday? That 11-inning game where the Mets and the Cardinals seemingly neither team wanted to win that ball.
I gave up on it when Yachty hit into the double play at the top of the 10th.
Yes,
I gave up.
And then,
woke up to the happy news. Chuck Galena texting me.
And then the Mets in the bottom of the 10th didn't bunt Kevin Pillar over. So I didn't understand that. When you have a guy on second, bunt him over. It's the bottom. You need one run. That's it. So they end up getting lucky. They do have a swinging bunt. They get him over, and then they turn a double play on the next at bat because there's another swinging bunt. Yachty throws him out at first base, and Kevin Pillar gets caught in a rundown between third and home. That's embarrassing in that situation. You can't get caught in a rundown in the bottom of the 10th. Also, Kwang Hyun Kim almost wanted to give up that game, even though the Cardinals gave him 3 runs. In the top of the 11th.
I gave up. I went to bed. After Yachty hit into the double play, I said, that's it. I can't take any more. They make me so mad. Gave up on it. Woke up to the happy news. And now, all joking aside, the Cardinals are working on, it's paltry at 17, but are working on a magic number. Didn't knock any off today with the Reds hanging on to win 1-0 over the Pirates. So their tragic number for the Reds, it's at 16. Is that right, or 15? 16. And the Padre number's at 17, and the Cardinals start 3 with the Padres starting tomorrow night at Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis. 7:15 Friday night, 6:15 Saturday night, and 1:15 Sunday afternoon. The Padres, they're not leaking oil. It looks like they're about done.
Oh, my gosh. And what? I know Jake Arrieta's up there in age, but I didn't expect to fall off the cliff like this. This has been unbelievable. Every time he goes out there, he's giving up at the very least 3 earned runs in the first 5 innings, if he makes it 5 innings, which he rarely does. And since his Cy Young year, it has been down every year, his ERA.
But he came through when the Cubs needed him to break that. One of the most fabled streak or curses in all of sports history. He was so vital to that. But I thought the Cubs were going to win more than one out of that stretch. But look, to end that 1908 talk. He delivered for him. I'm not here to knock the Cubs. I think that's a little. Even Al Raboski never lets up on it in St. Louis on kind of cracking on the Cubs. I think it's a little petty, a little small.
Yeah, I mean Cardinals
only do it to irritate Dave.
And also, Cardinals have had enough success that you don't have to. You don't have to go after the Cubs. I mean,
Cubs what's it do for you?
They had their one championship. And honestly,
it'll be 108 years more until the next one.
I honestly hope for them that they put a better product on the field next year.
Good thing we weren't going to be petty, wasn't it?
Yeah. But
tonight, Danny Dimes against Taylor Henneke.
Great matchup, huh? You excited?
Well, I'm going to watch because it's football on my television. There's also Louisiana against Ohio on TV tonight. Who's up for that?
Me.
Bobcats and Cajuns.
Me.
Who you got?
I think Ohio plus. I think it's plus 20.5.
Oh,
look at Brian Davis. Man, just throwing out winners to the people like that. Think.
Solich out, though, at Ohio. Yep. Tim Albin who's been their OC since the beginning of time, it seems like, at this point. And they haven't been good this year. They have struggled. They just lost to Duquesne last week.
Lost to the Dukes, they did?
Yes.
I didn't know that. That's not good. So Bryant Dacus going out there with 1,000-star guarantee life.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Well, do it like that.
Come on.
If you lose this week, everybody gets their picks free next week, and you just give a 10,000
why not?
star out.
Why not?
It's that easy.
Don't put the pick out there if it's not 1,000.
Ohio plus 20.5. Stamp it.
Now, Bryant, is that a free pick or an absolutely free pick? Because there's quite a difference.
That's just a free pick. You have to come back tomorrow for our forecast to get the absolutely free picks.
Dan Dimes tonight against Henneke. Now Henneke had some moments in the playoffs trying to ride that defense in that wild card game against the Buccaneers, but you can't win all year with that. And I don't think either one of these guys will be. Neither one of these guys may be quarterback of these teams when they meet the second go around. And did you know this? These two teams won't after tonight, Washington does not play another NFC team until December 12th when they play Dallas.
That's wild. I like Taylor Heinicke, though, weirdly enough. I thought last year in the playoffs, and obviously I'm going to talk about it here with the top story of the day, but I thought last year in the playoffs, they gave the Bucs a run for their money compared to everybody else that played the Bucs in the playoffs last year.
He did do that. And that defense is one to ride. That front, they get after you, and they come nasty at you.
They're unfairly good.
They really
unfairly
are.
good. In the front seven in general, they went and got Jamin Davis from Kentucky last year in the draft. So that front seven is nasty.
Playing at FedEx Field tonight, you can hear all the action right here on 560 and 98.5. Gabe, I'm in Oxford, but we're always in our Family Leisure studio. You're actually there in the brick and mortar Family Leisure studio.
Yes, Brian and I are in the Family Leisure studio where family and fun come together. Time to get out of the house. Go by Family Leisure. Great pricing on in-stock and incoming products. Keep the kids active. Got play gyms in stock, ready for delivery. Always try and get the professional installation. There's also markdowns on remaining game room products and massage chairs, hot tubs. Not cold weather yet. It's coming soon. Reserve yours now before the cold weather does hit. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40, where family and fun come together.
Bryant Dacus just gave out a winner for tonight's game. I'm going to give out a winner for Sunday afternoon or Sunday night's game, the Sunday night football game. The biggest game this Sunday, it's Chiefs versus Ravens. And FanDuel Sportsbook, it's about to make it even bigger because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can end the weekend the right way by winning $150 on a $5 bet. The over and under is 55.5. Let's ride that under 55.5 with Lamar playing a little keep away and Mahomes maybe not getting his hands on the football enough. Number one rated sportsbook app in America. It's at FanDuel. It's easy to use, safe and secure. It's so easy to use, I can figure it out. The payouts, they're fast. You win, you get your money back in 24 hours or less. FanDuel is sports betting made simple, and they're always hooking you up with great offers. You get that money back in as little as 24 hours. It's a guarantee. You've won it, it's yours. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's number one sports book. I love the under 55.5 coming up on Sunday night. Just sign up a promo code CASH this Sunday before the Chiefs take on the Ravens. You can win $150 on a $5 bet. Remember to use promo code CASH so they know I sent you. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only, $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus, $150. Bonus for Tennessee users. Fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, hit up the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis, and that's at 2600 Ridgeway, and they're online at lexusofmemphis.com. It is Lexus of Memphis, and you can call them at 901-362-8833. They are offering the Golden Opportunity September sales event. Autumn starts next week. Great offers on all 2021 models and always special lease options. If you ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus of Memphis thinks you would look outstanding in one of their beautiful cars as well. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2021 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. The 2022s, they're on the way. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Does somebody have mail?
Sounds like it. But my top story of the day, we got Thursday Night Football. Washington football team versus the Giants at FedEx Field, like we mentioned. And it is Daniel Jones is running out of time. He's got to get it going right this second.
That's Danny Dimes, Gabe.
I'm not sure if Joe Judge has what it takes. He's running these guys after losses. He's running them after fighting. It kind of worries me. But the Giants are in a bad situation. I don't know how Dave Gettleman is still employed. I'm going to be completely honest
with
you.
No kidding.
He
so true.
Drafted Andrew Thomas last year, number 4 overall, the tackle out of Georgia. I thought he'd be good, but he has struggled so mightily. They have Nate Solder, who they paid a king's ransom for to get him to join the Giants at right tackle, and they just have struggled so bad. I feel so bad for Saquon Barkley. Got hurt last year really early in the season. First game, 10 rushes for 26 yards. The Giants are just running out of time with what they have right this second, and I just don't know if it'll work out. The Washington football team, on the other hand, though, I like what they're building. I've always liked Ron Rivera. He always had a very relatively stout defense, good front seven, and he certainly has that in Washington right this second. I really believe, and you want a absolutely free pick, I'm going Washington football team minus the 3.5 tonight. I think it's an absolute lock.
Man, I love y'all just helping the people out, just giving them money, making it rain. It's that easy, isn't it?
It's that easy.
My top story. We build towards Saturday. Laird Veach, University of Memphis AD, says he thinks there'll be 40 north, so the first number 4, that's fine. I think that is plenty. I said about 80% capacity. I'm not as much on the number as I am a percentage of capacity, Gabe, wherever it is, whether it's Neyland Stadium with 110 or Ullman Field on the campus at Tulane at 25,000. Percentage of capacity is what really matters, and I think it will be fine. The home crowd needs to bring it, and the state crowd will be loud, cowbells or no. Last win for Mississippi State. Last win for the Tigers against State, 1988. 16-game winning streak for the Tigers, though, at LBS. Fourth best. Only ones that are better. Only ones with longer streaks at home. Notre Dame and Cincinnati, and I think that's it. It's fourth best at home. It's at least
Ohio
4.
State's just ended.
Ohio State's did just end. So the Tigers, they're off to a really good run at home, and they've made it tough on people. And what makes it even tougher, 2 puppies, 2 freshmen,
right.
Seth Hennigan and Brandon Thomas. Now, Brandon Thomas played in 4 games last year, but he's really getting his sea legs now. I think Saturday at the Liberty Bowl, classic game.
Not top story of the day.
I'm so excited for it. I cannot wait to see what those guys have in store. They better the Tigers better sure up that defensive backfield, though. What we saw last week.
Clemson, Notre Dame, and Cincinnati are the 3 longer streaks in the Tigers.
Yeah, what we saw last week in Arkansas State cannot fly.
My old brain just clicked in.
If Mississippi State throws for 500 yards, that will be a runaway win by Mississippi State.
And it could be a 6-hour game.
I think it'll be a 6-hour game anyway.
Good.
Let's get real. Not top story of the day. Cowboys just keep taking hits this week. DeMarcus Lawrence is out for 6 to 8 weeks with foot surgery. La'el Collins has his suspension for 5 games for PEDs. Michael Gallup was out after the game. They figured out that he had a calf strain. The Cowboys, with high hopes to win the NFC East this year, and I love how Cowboys fans always have this positive mindset about what's about to happen. The defense is going to be improved. The defense is going to be great. Well, your back end is so bad. Your defensive backfield is not good. You have a lot of guys with not a lot of experience. Trayvon Diggs is probably your best guy. The best thing you could hope for is getting pressure on the quarterback. And without DeMarcus Lawrence, your second highest paid guy on the entire roster, you're not going to be able to do that.
0-1 start was kind of predictable for the Cowboys against the Buccaneers, but 0-2 having to go on the road to Tampa and to the Los Angeles Chargers, not many expected that. My not top story, speaking of attendance, with this signing class, with these expectations, this home schedule, with Joe Lunardi and bracketology yesterday dropping, and with all the smoke, we shouldn't have a single time this year that scan count comes into play. It should never be relevant. It should be 14-15 north every night for Tiger basketball this year, and I expect it to be.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, though, because some of the big games are on the road, at Ole Miss, at Georgia. You have
the neutral with Tennessee.
The massive game at home that I expect to be absolutely sold out. Is Alabama. But a lot of the big games, a lot of the bigger name teams are on the road, so I'm going to see how that works out. But I agree with you completely. Butts better be in the seats.
Yeah, it's going to be a mostly packed FedEx Forum all year for the Tigers, and when the Grizzlies get rolling the Grizzlies get started before the Tigers do. So it's going to be a lot of fun to get back to going to games like normal. We will talk with Keith Smith about that. His NBA camps, they open in 2 weeks. He will be with us at 4 o'clock. Bill Bender from the Sporting News, though, he's up next. You're listening to Sports Time with Gabe and Stats on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy take you through lunch from 10 to 1 weekdays, only on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
A new season is the perfect time to change up your look. And luckily, 21 Days of Beauty is happening now at Ulta Beauty. Snag daily beauty steals of 50% off the must-haves from brands like IT Cosmetics and Benefit. And discover new Gotta Have It launches from brands like Jacqueline Cosmetics and Tula. Experience the thrill of finding new faves during beauty's biggest event. But hurry, this event ends September 18th. Shop in-store, online, or try curbside pickup today. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Nothing's worse than starting trouble. Well, we can help you out. We can start with a free battery test. That way, we'll know if your battery is causing the issue. It could be your starter, it could be your alternator, and you don't want to waste money on the wrong fix. And if you do need a new battery, we've got you covered with a wide selection of replacement batteries. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination. Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2020.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochin and Brett Norsworthy.
Gabe Kuhn in with me today. Dave will be back tomorrow starting Monday, October 4th. Gabe Kuhn will be co-hosting this show every day with us. Bryant Dacus producing, Jay Morgan Harder also assisting on the production side. We appreciate one and all. Dave will be moving to the morning with Wolo and Friends from 10 a to 11 a.m. every morning. Look forward to that. He just wants to scale back a little bit. He's not going anywhere. Well, he's moving to the morning, but he's not going away. He's just moving to the morning and scaling back in hours just a little bit. Gabe, you'll love this. Our friend John Varlas texted me, and I'm going to read it in John Varlas' tone. You ready?
Yes, ready.
You went from the playoffs are too big to 29-0 awfully fast. And I sent back to him, radio shtick and insufferable homer, and he sent back, he's a big Padres fan. LOL, well, the Padres are dead, as you can probably get 3 more this weekend. Good luck. Love John Varlas. What a great reporter.
Absolutely.
I mean, nobody. I don't think anybody in any shop works harder than preps, men and women, and John just among that, and just about everybody has had that tour of duty in the preps shop at an outlet. John is there and wants to be there, and the work he puts in. I mean, earlier today, tweeting the picture of Major Wright's son winning the golf, and he also plays quarterback for Central High. I mean, he's just everywhere, and you have to be the preps person.
Does his job at such a high level, and I love his midday spots. Love it.
I do too.
Every Friday.
Appointment listening to John. Thank you, JV. Appreciate that a lot. Another guy that works hard, and he covers college football for the Sporting News. That's our friend Bill Bender. He joins us at this time, and Bill Bender, we're 2 weeks in, and I have said these first 2 weeks of college football have felt with buzzer beaters, upsets, near misses, scares, escape acts. It has felt a little bit like the first 2 days of a wild and crazy NCAA men's basketball tournament. Good afternoon.
Well, first of all, John's my kind of guy because he's a Padres fan like me, and we're suffering through a little.
We're sorry.
You're a Padres fan in Ohio?
I always tell people the reason I am born in Ohio and all that stuff is my favorite baseball player of all time is Tony Gwynn, left-hander, like I was, and watched him as a kid and loved how he played. And I've always been a Padres fan. It's been, it's not easy, and it hasn't been easy this year given the hype around the team. But, John, wherever you are, maybe they can pull it out here at the end.
Maybe so. What about these first 2 crazy weeks, Bill? It has been some upsets, and it's been some near misses.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think the 2 games that really kind of shook things up is one, you get Clemson to lose, and then you get Ohio State to lose. And that's 2 schools with, I think, 10 or 11 playoff appearances between them. And now they've got to be in that win-out mode the rest of the year. I was at the Shoe last week, and I won't say stunned. I was more impressed with the way that Oregon went about that game. Going into the Shoe, making big plays in the running game, keeping their composure when it got tight. Can't say enough about the Ducks last week. That was a huge game, huge win.
And then now you hear Mario Cristobal brought up in this USC opening, and obviously that's another thing. We talk about the first 2 weeks of college football. Yes, there's been upsets. There's been some buzzer beaters, but also a firing at a premier job. And I almost said, for Clay Helton, it's almost like a weight off his shoulders. This has been this way for so long with him being on the hot seat.
Gabe, that's a good call. Because we've been talking Clay Helton hot seat take
since he got there
3 years, right? I joked Monday night. I was telling my editor, I was coming up with this list of replacements, and I said, honestly, I'm pretty sure I wrote this same list 3 years ago. And I was like, can we dig that up and find these guys? But it is going to attract some interesting names from the NFL, like Leftwich and Bieniemy. It's going to attract some interesting retired names like Bob Stoops and Chris Peterson. You got to talk about Urban Meyer, James Franklin, everyone else. I've always thought, and Brett could probably speak to this too, USC to me is the one college job that feels like an NFL job. Mm-hmm. That's why they have some NFL coaches that have had success there.
Yeah, it has, and it's in such a big area, and they play in such a big, high-profile stadium. I have said, Bill, I think the Coliseum of the United States, the sports venue of the United States, is the L.A. Coliseum. I think it is the stadium for American sport. Come 2028, hope I make it till then. Come 2028, it will have hosted the Summer Olympics 3 times. All the Super Bowls in it, all the Heisman Trophy winners that have played in it coming through there, either at SC or UCLA or in the Pac-12 or as an opponent, the pro teams that have played there. And there, I think Lakers, I know Lakers clearly number 1, then Dodgers. But number 3 on the L.A. sports scene, I think, is USC football.
When they're right, they're number 1.
Right.
Yeah.
You can, maybe not over the Lakers, but they're right there with both of them because they become Hollywood's team for college football. There's a storied past there. And, that's like James Franklin of all these candidates is the most interesting to me because he would have an interesting value decision. That is, I know he's a Pennsylvania guy. Great job at Penn State. But if I was in his shoes, you just think, okay, I got to go with Ohio State every year. That's a pain. Or I can go, try to recruit California and win some Pac-12 South titles.
Right.
And when USC's right, they're the best team in that division. So I think he's one of the most viable candidates, and there's a reason why he isn't exactly saying no right now.
Is the biggest checklist item to be a USC head coach being able to have a stranglehold on that LA area and California and those surrounding areas? Because it seems like Oregon has sort of taken that from them. Mario Cristobal has done a great job recruiting those areas.
He has. And then not only that, but recruiting. How about quarterbacks? I mean, when you look at the landscape, and Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia all have kids from California under center right now. USC does too, obviously, but I think that would be one of the allures of a Byron Leftwich or an Eric Bieniemy, because with kids, I mean, Eric Bieniemy comes out, hey, I've been working with Mahomes. I can work with you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Leftwich, hey, I'm working with Tom Brady. He's the GOAT, come play for me. I think those are easy sells for quarterbacks. And be interesting to see if one of those two gets seriously considered for the job.
Yeah, Bill, just used to, even 10 years ago, but for sure into the 70s, 80s, the idea of one California quarterback in the SEC was really kind of unheard of. And now 3, JT Daniels, Matt Corral, and Bryce Young. It's the number of players they pour out, it should almost just be on autopilot. I loved how Mario Cristobal handled victory. It's easy to be a good winner. But if you're an insufferable winner, well, you're a poor loser. And Mario Cristobal, he was great in victory. Told his team, don't go out there and make rear ends out of yourself. Don't plant any flags at midfield. There's no need to mock at the student section. Run off the field and act like you've done it before. I love that.
Well, they were excited though.
Yeah. You should be.
It was a huge win for that program. I would argue the biggest win in a non-conference game since they beat Michigan at the Big House the way they did with Dennis Dixon, and that really got some excitement around Chip Kelly's, it was Kelly's program at the time, or Bellotti, one or the other, but it still really put them on the map, and that's continued. They've got a ton of momentum now. I mean, for me, at Oregon, it's your playoff berth to lose now, because even if you go 12-1, as long as you win the Pac-12 championship, you've got that chip over Ohio State. And that's a huge one to have, because they not only did they win the game, they won the game there. And Ohio State had won 25 in a row at home. That's a huge win.
It absolutely is. Absolutely is. Now, we've been going through all of this realignment talk, and we have the Big 12 teams. We have BYU, Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston headed to the Big 12 in 2023. I don't know when Oklahoma and Texas are going to leave. But there was a rumor that came out, I think Dennis Dodd put it out, about Memphis and Boise State, I believe, were the two teams that they were saying the Big 12 might add once Texas and Oklahoma leave. What are your thoughts on that? How realistic of an option is that?
Well, I mean, it's not over, the realignment wheel. But the Big 12 made some good ads for what they're trying to do, and then they've got more probably coming. And Memphis has a Power 5 profile if the Power 5 profile includes schools like Cincinnati and UCF. I mean, that's the way I look at it. So as long as they continue to work toward building that program, holding on to their coaches, developing the NFL talent you guys know all the names. Guys like Anthony Miller, Pollard, Henderson, keep producing guys in the NFL, then their profile will build. And I think they'll end up in that. The way I see the Big 12 now, though, I don't know that I consider it a power conference, more so as the ultimate bridge between Power 5 and Group 5.
Bill, I just don't know much about Virginia Tech and West Virginia's past with each other. I know West Virginia and the Pitt thing. I know Virginia Tech and the UVA thing. But this Saturday, Virginia Tech, 2-0, ranked 15th. They go to Morgantown to play West Virginia. That looks like that could be one of the good games of the weekend on Saturday.
Oh, and it's, neighboring states in Appalachia, I've made that drive when I lived in North Carolina countless times. So there's a neighboring state to it. I like that they have a trophy. They haven't played in a while. Virginia Tech's been very impressive here early in the year with Fuente and that quarterback Braxton Burmeister making good decisions. Their defense has been flying around. I like them in that game, but, every time you go to Morgantown, you never know. It ought to be a rowdy crowd, a lot of fun. West Virginia's been a little bit inconsistent here early in the season, but that should be a fun game.
Out there in the SEC, you got Florida versus Alabama, and through the first 2 weeks, I want to see this game for Alabama's sake against Florida to really be able to crown them, because I'm already about ready to crown them through 2 weeks, seeing what Bryce Young's been able to do. And it's just unbelievable how every year you change offensive coordinators and they haven't skipped a beat here in about 4 years. But regardless of that, how do you see that game going? And really, what do you think about Florida's quarterback situation?
Well, Anthony Richardson's a guy that everybody's really curious about right now. 5-star freshman, big-time talent. Every time he touches the ball right now, good things are happening.
Yeah.
And I think they need to play him a lot in that game. And, everybody's saying that, so it's not like this is an original thought. But my thought behind it is when quarterbacks beat Alabama, they go off the script, right? They guys like Manziel, when a play breaks down, they can still make a play. And Richardson's that kind of guy. Like you, there is I don't want to say tendency, I want to crown Alabama. I've seen it too. It's unreal. But in the swamp should be fun. Big spot for the Gators. Last time Alabama went down there a decade ago, that game was over at halftime. Mm-hmm. And that's the risk. If Alabama's up like 28-0 at halftime, I don't know what we're going to do.
Any concern?
Crown them.
Yeah, crown them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, that's what we'll do, sure.
Any concern with Anthony Richardson being sort of thrust into the spotlight against Alabama? Any concern that he may lose confidence going against that front seven and that defense in general?
Absolutely. Because, you look at his completion percentage through 2 games, it's kind of all or nothing. 55%, right. Not great. You look at what Alabama was able to do to Derek King a couple weeks ago, and that guy has like 5,000 total yards in his career. That's definitely a risk factor. We're always looking for that quarterback, though. It's like it takes either an Ole Miss quarterback, an Auburn quarterback, or a Heisman quarterback like Burrow, Newton, Manziel to beat Alabama in the regular season. That's been the recipe.
Yeah, Trevor Knight broke through for OU and Garcia at South Carolina, but it usually takes just a monster performance. Bill, please tell me you're going to be at State College, PA for Auburn and Penn State Saturday.
I'm going to be home this week, which is fine. I'm going to be at my kids' game in the morning, and we've got a couple weeks of football left, so been able to manage where I can go to my kids' games, and those are my favorite games of the week. It's from 10:30 to 11:30 watching the Pickerington Phantoms right now. And then when the season's over, I'll get on the road a little bit.
Bill Bender, thank you for your time today. Enjoy the weekend. We'll keep an eye on it all, and we'll talk about it with you again next week on Thursday afternoon. Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Hey, no problem, guys. Take care.
Bill Bender with us from the Sporting News every Thursday. This weekend, anytime, let Jason's Deli do all the work for you. Save all the time and trouble and let Jason's Deli do the work. Locations at Park Place, Poplar and Highland, Cordova, and Olive Branch. Whatever meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, they've got you covered. Hot breakfast choices, fresh cracked eggs, crispy bacon, sunshine breakfast, hot wrap breakfast. At lunchtime, the sandwich boxes, the manager special. Dinner time, the traditional boxes. Go to jasonsdeli.com to find out more information. Whether you need to feed 5 or 5,000, the experienced team at Jason's Deli, they can and will deliver. Low delivery fees, house accounts available. All foods are free from dyes, artificial trans fats, and flavors. Again, locations at Park Place, Olive Branch, Poplar and Highland, and Cordova. Go to jasonsdeli.com. The commitment to variety, value, and quality ingredients means you can feel great about choosing Jason's Deli's catering for all 3 meals. When we come back, we round out hour number 1. You're listening to Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Grab a seat with Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
As a pro, you know you need the right tools for the job. Shop the Just for Pros event at Lowe's now through September 24th to save on top tool brands and more. Up your power with the Bosch 18-volt cordless hammer drill kit, plus bonus laser distance measure, only $149. And the DeWalt 16-piece bimetal reciprocating saw blade set, now only $22.98. Shop in-store and at Lowe's.com. Lowe's, the new home for pros. Valid through 9/24, U.S. only.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that PIN, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time. As simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend, Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
Ian Eagle and Tony Baselli here from Westwood One with a preview of Thursday Night Football. Week 2 of the young NFL season begins with an NFC East matchup between the New York Giants and the Washington Football Team. Saquon Barkley returned to play in the opener from his knee injury in Week 2 last season. Now he'll try and lead the Giants in this big divisional matchup. Tony, neither of these squads can be very happy with their opening performances last week.
Both teams are coming off a loss and are hoping for a better performance after struggling to score points offensively. Daniel Jones was under constant pressure, and Ryan Fitzpatrick got knocked out early with a hip injury. We'll find out which offense can get it going and get their first win of the year.
Look forward to being with you, partner, for the Giants at Washington on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
O'Reilly. Get more miles on the road with O'Reilly Auto Parts. A clean fuel system means better gas mileage for your car. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner for $8. Plus, earn double O Rewards points. For a clean, lubricated, more fuel-efficient system, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Really? What? No way. That's what visitors at International Bird Rescue say when they learn we rely on Dawn dish soap to clean wildlife, the same Dawn they use at home to wash dishes. Yep, wildlife rescue workers have been using Dawn for decades, helping save more than 125,000 birds, even these little ducklings. You see, Dawn suds loosen up the grease and rinse it from their delicate feathers. Taking grease out of wildlife's way is
so darn easy.
Hey everybody, it's Rick Earwood, and you know in my day I've bought several homes, and nothing can be more overwhelming and time-consuming than trying to secure financing. Let me steer you in the direction of Tommy Cotham at Bartlett Mortgage, a guy that's been originating loans for 25 years in the greater Memphis area. Tommy does all products, conventional, FHA, USDA, VA. Maybe you're wanting to stay in your home now and just refinance. He can do that as well. So, hey, go ahead, give Tommy a call at 901-335-7308. Get your pre-approval so you'll know what you can spend, find your home, and then pack your boxes and get ready to move. It's that easy with Tommy Cotham at Bartlett Mortgage. Call him today at 901-335-7308. Once again, that number, 901-335-7308. Tell him Rick told you to call.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
What I'm saying is, this is the anthem. Throw all your hands
Gabe Kuhn, Bill Bender said the conference realignment wheel spins round and round. It's spinning.
It is spinning wildly. We have no idea how this is going to end. The Big 12 may expand more, but the AAC, after losing Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati, is going to have to replace them. And Dennis Dodd of CBS Sports, I have to give a shout-out to Dennis Dodd. He's done a great job at following a lot of this realignment news. But he's reporting today that the AAC is looking to expand by at least 4 teams and get to 12 members. And they are looking to not the Sun Belt, to not the Conference USA, but they're looking to the Mountain West mostly for potential targets. Air Force, Boise State, Colorado State, San Diego State from the Mountain West, and then out of Conference USA, the only team they're looking at is UAB. And I like the thought of UAB being back in the AAC. Now, I think a lot of that would be dependent on Memphis' standing. Memphis doesn't seem like they're going anywhere anytime soon in regards to the AAC. But if UAB's there, you start to rehash old rivalries. And I do like Air Force, Boise State, Colorado State, San Diego State.
San Diego State would be a lot of fun for sure, and those others out west. And with Air Force, I'm assuming Navy stays in, then that would be 2 of the 3 of the service academies. I'm with you on UAB. More for basketball than football, but the football could get interesting at time, and they have done a good job. The program Bill Clark's built not once but twice, and built it once, and then they self-inflicted death penalty.
And they're getting a new stadium, too.
They've got a new stadium.
A protective stadium. So they're trying to build the thing up. And I usually you'd shrug off the thought of UAB from the Conference USA with where they've been in the past. But Bill Clark has built up that football program, and they seem to be on the right track. They're trying to build up their facility. So I don't mind that. But as far as the Mountain West, you are growing your brand in regards to spreading out to the West Coast. But some of the trips that you're going to have to see to make that thing work will be unbelievable. I mean, think about Temple traveling to Colorado State on a Thursday. If Colorado State ended up joining, I mean, it's rough. But
and good luck for baseball. I don't even know if Temple plays baseball, but if they do, it's a long way to go to play baseball.
If you are trying to grow your athletic prowess, I mean, the Mountain West was the obvious choice.
Mm-hmm. Now, you don't sound as optimistic about the immediacy of the expansion of the Big 12 and the Tigers merging into that.
I just, you want to know honesty. I just don't want to
see it to believe it.
Yeah, I don't want to get my hopes up. And obviously, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of conversations over the past decade about Memphis being in a power conference, and it's just never really come to fruition. Now, I don't know what the conversations that are being had behind closed doors in the Big 12 offices are right now. But if the Boise State, Memphis rumors are true, I'm all for it. But I really have to see it to believe it.
Where do you think SMU lands, if anywhere? Do you think they are destined for AAC?
I think they have to stay put. Although I don't know why they're not more attractive in going to a Power 5 conference. They have a good market. They're right in the heart of Dallas. And not to mention what Sonny Dykes has done with the football program is fantastic, and they have been recruiting their butt off. So and they have big donors. They're a relatively well-to-do school.
They're in the middle of Dallas.
Yeah, I mentioned that hard
Highland
Dallas.
Park's
so
beautiful.
I don't know why they're not more attractive.
I haven't ever been to an SMU game on campus, but I am told that tailgating scene is up there with the best.
And I love the stadiums in the middle of campus. SMU has one. Cincinnati's is awesome. Love it. I've always been a fan of that, and SMU's is like that. Now, granted, when I was playing them in college, they were in some down times. There's some downtrodden times. Chad Morris got them to about 7-5. That was the peak. So their population at the game, their attendance was not very high. But they have some definite facilities to build on, programs to build on.
Conference realignment is going to be fun to watch. It never ends. It never has. There's no start date for it. There's no end date for it. It's always evolving. It always has. 1 hour in the books. When we come back, we start hour number 2. We talk the NBA. We do it every Thursday with Keith Smith from Yahoo Sports. That's next on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Whether it's football, basketball, baseball, golf, or real estate, having the winning coach makes all the difference in your success. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark Spensdorf Realtors, and I'm with Coach Terry Tippett, winner of 6 state basketball championships. Coach, what's been the secret to your and your team's successes?
Sheldon, there's no one secret. It becomes a pattern of success after coaching for so many years and learning the ins and outs of the game and the players, a lot like the pattern of your success in selling homes.
Thanks, Coach. Like you and your program, I developed my highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option, and I also tried to use it in my golf game.
Sheldon, tried is the optimum word. You better stick to selling homes, as you're always hitting holes in one at that instead of double bogeys.
Thanks a lot. And if anyone is thinking of selling their home, make sure and talk to 2 to 3 coaches. I mean real estate brokers. Let me be one of them. You can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com and be a winner.
Corky's is your home for authentic Memphis barbecue. Our dining rooms are open, or stop by our speedy drive-thru. Order your party packs today starting at only $5.99 per person.
Hey, Mid-South, it's time to reclaim your freedom in your new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi 1870 Covington Pike. Make your mileage count with 43 mpg and lane departure warning in your 2021 Mitsubishi Mirage. $179 per month. Get more standard equipment than Ford Escape or Mazda CX-5 in your new 2022 Eclipse Cross with effortless technology at $299 per month. Plus, relax and enjoy the ride with My Pilot Assist in your new 2022 Outlander, $319 a month. And we stand behind our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 84 months, $500 military rebate. Mirage MH009-694, MSRP $17,490. Outlander NZ023330, MSRP $29,315. Eclipse NZ003186, MSRP $27,725. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF $695. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 9/30/21. Dealer stock only.
Tired of waiting on your sportsbook? Waiting for deposits and withdrawals? No more waiting with Action 24/7. We're cutting out the middleman. Deposit or withdrawal in cash. Action 24/7 has more than 100 partners in Tennessee for cash deposits and withdrawals. Visit action247.com for a location. Cash deposits and withdrawals from your Tennessee sportsbook. Action247.com. You got action.
Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call 800-889-9789.
With the help of Cheerios Oat Crunch Almond, I get everyone's morning started with a smile. It has a delicious and hearty combination of the Cheerios you love, whole grain oats, and sliced almonds for an extra crunchy crunch. That's how I set the rhythm for a great day. Look for Cheerios Oat Crunch Almond in your local grocery store.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Already the 16th of September, half of September in the books. We know what happens late September. The NBA will finally get back on schedule. And then come next June, it will finally, the whole world for the NBA will finally be righted when we have a June NBA Finals, and they all can go off on vacation. No Olympics, no waiting on a 2021 Olympics. And to talk NBA with us every Thursday, Keith Smith does it with us. He's so very good. On Twitter, at Keith Smith, NBA contributor to Spot Rack, Celtics blog, Yahoo, so many more. Keith Smith, thank you for your time, and I know you're ready for in 2 weeks when camps get started, because camp gets started about as soon as the first drill gets operated. Then the NBA starts with preseason games.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got camps open up about a week and a half from now. On the 27th will be media day in most of the markets, and then 28th is the opening of camp. And yeah, it's less than a week after that preseason games get cranked up, and it's only about 3 weeks of preseason, and then we're off and into the NBA regular season starting about about a month now from now at this point.
So from a vaccination standpoint, I saw this yesterday that the NBA players are not the Players Association is not mandating the vaccine. I think coaches, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, coaches and refs have to be vaccinated, but they're also there's a lot of protocols going in, from what I understand.
Yeah, you're pretty on it. So what's going to happen is the coaches will need to be vaccinated. Really, any staff members who are going to come in contact with the players. And that includes even people who are like down at the scorers table and running those kind of things. The officials will all need to be vaccinated as well. They are not going to make it mandatory for the players because that's a different union that would have to be negotiated. But there will be testing protocols for those unvaccinated players where they're going to have to register two negative tests to be able to play. Continue to be tested on a very regular basis, and the vaccinated players, they won't have the same kind of protocols and testing.
Keith Smith, the Grizzlies' first preseason game, Tuesday night, October 5th. That's in about 10 minutes.
That's about how it feels. It feels like we crowned the Bucks the champs. We opened free agency 5 minutes later, and then we get to breathe for a week, and now the season's coming. This is all fast and furious. I, for one, will be very happy to get back to the normal calendar.
I want normal calendar. Football's finally got around to it, and now the NBA will get around to it, play the 82, have the big Christmas day like we always enjoy, and then get back to normal. Yeah, Tuesday night, October 5th, against the world champs, the Milwaukee Bucks at FedEx Forum. On the vaccination front, Keith, do you expect 100% capacity like it was for most of the latter stages of the playoffs when we have opening night?
I do. Most teams, it sounds like that's what they're moving towards now. It's very different by the different cities and states and counties and what be as far as what's required. Some are going to require that you show a vaccination to attend in person. Some are going to require some form of a test maybe be shown. Others may just be, hey, we're open and off we go. So we'll know a little bit more about that. The one that is, or two locations that are extremely interesting are New York and San Francisco, because the Nets and the Knicks, as well as the Warriors, in order to be in those buildings, there's a vaccination is required. And we don't exactly know what that's going to mean for players at this point and what that's going to look like. So that is something that is just another layer of kind of intrigue that we're going to have to monitor here as the season gets going for those teams and the teams that come in to play them, because there's been some talk of, well, that won't be required of visiting players. But I've heard others say that's not how these regulations work in these cities and states.
Yeah, you just get into weird territory when you're talking about indoor arenas. We've with football, the 100% capacity just about everywhere. You're outdoor. It seems like you could space out a little bit, although at some of the SEC places they're not spaced out. But I honestly, you know what? I love to see fans back in the stands in those situations. Now, I'm going to ask you for the millionth time. I think I've asked you this since in this offseason before. But Ben Simmons, I am so confused by this situation. I think Philadelphia is asking for a lot, but it doesn't seem like they're really that enthused about keeping him, if that is the case. What is going to happen with him? Does he start the year with the 76ers, or is he moved somewhere?
In a week and a half, they're going to come into media day. And my guess is if he's still on that roster, he's not going to be there. We know that. They've already made that clear from his side. The Sixers are probably going to put out some blanket statement as far as, hey, we're not going to we're not going to answer any questions about Ben Simmons. He's not here right now. That's an internal matter, or however they phrase it. And then guys like me and you guys are going to turn right around and ask every person who comes to the mic, hey, what's going on with Ben Simmons? Right? Because, someone will bite and someone will share their thoughts, which is kind of what got us in this situation in the first place. I still believe that he will be moved sometime within the next week and a half. I know that there are teams who are very heavily pursuing him. It's just that Philly hasn't moved off those demands, but I still find it extremely hard to believe that they're going to bring him into training camp and move forward with that, because it's too big of a distraction and too many things can go wrong.
And we've been hearing about rumors and trades that have been offered to Philly, and Brian Windhorst, I think last week, talked about small market teams getting involved. What teams make the most sense that have enough capital to trade to the 76ers and would actually have an overwhelming positive by bringing Ben Simmons in?
Yeah, so that's where the challenge is with this entire thing, is because Philly wants back a whole bunch of picks. Well, that's a lot of teams. You can get there with a lot of teams to deliver the picks, but they also want win-now players that are going to help them move forward that aren't on bad or questionable contracts. That's where it gets harder, because you got to get to the salary matching for $33 million and to match on Ben Simmons' salary. So that's where it becomes hard. But teams like Cleveland and Minnesota, they know they are highly unlikely to sign a player of Ben Simmons' caliber in free agency, probably at any point. So they are looking at it and saying, hey, if we can cobble together enough salary here, we'd love to go get this guy, bring him in, have him be a big part of, we're trying to build this forward. We know we'll have him for at least the next few years. They've got some other good young players there. So that's why those small market teams are really chasing him. Their challenge is, it may take a third team to kind of deliver the value to Philly that they're looking for as far as win-now players.
Keith, couldn't you really throw Memphis and New Orleans in that same description you just gave for Minnesota and Cleveland?
You could. I haven't heard anything on either one of those teams being overly interested. It would kind of go against the MO for the Grizzlies. They have chosen to build internally around their young guys and then supplement them with veterans who fit really well with the young players. So it would be just a little bit of a departure from the norm. New Orleans is interesting. I think the challenge for New Orleans is, can you make a reasonable basketball fit with him and Zion Williamson together and along with Brandon Ingram? And how is that going to look? And how do they get there money-wise? That starts to become a little bit of an issue for them getting to that matching salary without trading a young player that they really like. So I think that's why we haven't heard them linked to Ben Simmons either.
Here's a team. Now, it's not small market, and they can spend lavishly, and they do. And I think it fits with them. If for nothing else, his defense, throw him in as a part of the Mavericks. You're the money expert. Does the money even come close to matching up and working if the Mavericks got involved?
Yeah, they could get there, and you would have the ability for that to be workable because you have a primary ball handler in Luka who can shoot and create and do all those things. I think the key thing for Ben Simmons, wherever he goes, he has to be plugged into a role where he's more of a playmaking four versus this giant point guard, because I think what we've seen is you kind of put a cap on your ceiling, on yourself as a ceiling as a team, if you are going to play him at point guard. It just becomes almost untenable, especially as you get into the deeper rounds of the playoffs. And that's the challenge. So a team like Dallas, they could do it. They've got some bigger contracts. that they could send out. Their challenge is they're a little hamstrung by trading picks because they still owe a pick to the Knicks for the Kristaps Porzingis trade, and that one's got some conditions on it, so that makes it a little bit harder for them to get there with the draft pick part.
And I want to go back to this because you did say it would be a departure from the normal for the Grizzlies to even make a run at this thing. And we've had a lot of rumors in town about the Grizzlies possibly going after Ben Simmons. But when you talk about players that they'd have to put in those conversations, it would be Jaren Jackson Jr., it would be Desmond Bane. If they were to trade away guys like that and picks for Ben Simmons, would that make sense for their team makeup? It seems like after that, shooting would have to be you'd have to, as far as free agency goes, go sign as many shooters as possible. And as far as draft goes, you'd have to sign as many shooters as possible.
Yeah, I would not do a move like that if I was the Grizzlies, if it was going to cost me Jackson and Bane, because I think Jaren Jackson Jr., maybe not in Memphis, clearly, everyone's closer to the team, but I think nationally it's become forgotten just how good this guy was 2 seasons ago. He was at a historical level for a guy of his size, shooting volume and percentage-wise from behind the arc.
Right.
It was only Karl-Anthony Towns and Channing Frye who had ever taken and made as many three-pointers as he did, which is really kind of unbelievable when you think about it in the history of the game and how the big man position has stepped out on the floor further and further over really about the last 8 to 10 years. So now I think that becomes your challenge. Now you're putting Simmons and Morant would have to be there's your star duo, and you're going to do everything around those two guys. I don't know that you get enough surefire knockdown shooting at the other 3 positions and then coming off your bench to allow those two to play big minutes together. It's one thing to play one non-shooter on the floor at a time. Once you get to 2, it really makes it easy on the defense.
Yeah, if you have 2 non-shooters and then a cold night from a shooter, it means the defense has to guard 2 people. I mean, it gets down to kind of simple math. You're right, Keith. Keith last year going into the season, and he got it done, it was kind of Giannis's time. Who is that player this year? Hadn't won a title yet, and if you had to put it on him for this year, who would it be for it being their time to get a title?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think probably a guy who comes to mind with that is James Harden. And clearly the Nets are the favorite. I think in a lot of people's minds, it's going to be a disappointment if they don't win the finals. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, of course, have already won rings, but I think it is the thought is out there of let's see if James Harden can get his now with this really ridiculously deep team and 3 of the top 20 players in the league, depending on where you put Kyrie Irving on your list. At least you've got 2 of the top 10 in Harden and Durant by any measure. And if anybody doesn't have those 2 in their top 10, let's have a conversation. You know where to find me, because I'd be very surprised about that. But he's the guy who kind of comes to mind, because the pressure, I think, is on some guys who have already won one, but it's getting back to that level. So LeBron James, Anthony Davis, after last year's disappointment. I think Stephen Curry and the whole Warriors mix, can they get back into contention? And to some extent, there's pressure on Giannis and the Bucks to, all right, it was cute that you did it last year and kind of a weird season. Can you do it again this year? And then, of course, eternally, the answer is going to be Chris Paul until, when and if he does get it done, because people are always going to kind of put that on his resume. When we talk all-time great players or all-time great point guards, it's always going to be Chris Paul, but he never won a championship. If he wins a championship, you get to eliminate that last part after the comma.
Is there any pressure on the Utah Jazz? Last year, 1 seed in the Western Conference. Donovan Mitchell was phenomenal. Mike Conley's returning. They're going into the luxury tax, trying to keep this team together. I mean, how high is the pressure on that Jazz franchise this year to show out?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's that last part. It's about going into the luxury tax, which is something they haven't done before. It's a new ownership group. We see this a lot of times. New owner comes in, they're willing to spend, and let's go be competitive. Let's go try to win a championship, and then it doesn't happen, and then they start to dial things back. So we'll see. There is very much a sense around the league, and it's not that it's Gobert and Mitchell's last run together if they don't get it done, but that team is going to have major changes this offseason if they can't get it done and at least make a run to the conference finals, if not the finals. And I think they're feeling like, hey, with our offseason additions, we should have better health with Conley and Mitchell in the playoffs, which really kind of helped lead to their downfall. I think they're looking at it and saying, hey, if we can get there healthy with the guys we added, we're just as good as anybody else in the West. And I have a hard time arguing with it. I think they do have a chance at being right there.
Keith, the Grizzlies front office, are they in a good spot or a tough spot with being over the limit with players?
It's not a tough spot as far as you can look at it and see that there are some pretty obvious cuts. So it's not the worst place to be in. Unless they can find a team that's willing to take on some salary, they're going to have to eat some salary. But they've been doing that for the last few years. That to me is a sign of a front office that has an ownership group that is connected and sees the vision. As far as, if we look back at Dion Waiters or even Andre Iguodala, when it was just, hey, we're going to play him not to we're going to pay him not to play here. I think that is a good thing. Now, they don't have anybody that big of a number that's sitting out there this time around, but they're going to have to eat a contract or two, and it'll be. I've got my eye on who might be the ones that go. Can they get a guy to maybe go, but then go to the G League team, or maybe even get waived and then re-sign on a two-way contract? They're sitting on an open two-way, but it's a tough spot to be in for the coaching staff. But the good news is the bottom of the roster. You should have very competitive training camp practices because you've got guys who I think are coming in, hey, I got to fight my way onto this team.
Yeah, and Keith, when you look at the Grizzlies offseason, what have you thought about it as a whole? When you count in the draft and taking Zaire Williams and Santi Aldama, it's been busy, but it hasn't been all that exciting in regards to the names that you're bringing in. What have you thought?
Yeah, it was interesting the way they kind of became like a way station for a handful of guys as they shuffled them on and off the roster. And now that we're still sitting here, just what we were just talking about, still, plus several players that they are going to have to move out. But that becomes even more interesting because it's not like they piled up a bunch of assets in those deals where it was, we're going to move these guys and we got ourselves a first-round pick, or we did this and we moved this guy on and we got this other player and those kind of things. So that's where it becomes kind of interesting to see what direction they're going with. Like, for example, they got a second-round pick or the right to swap second-round picks with the trade with Boston, but that's kind of all they got out of it, and there's no guarantee that either Chris Dunn nor Carson Edwards is on this roster, come opening night. Those two guys could be two guys that are both cut and moved on from. So I don't dislike anything that Memphis did because it's hard to. They didn't do anything really crazy. I thought getting Steven Adams is an interesting move. Let's see what comes with that. They moved up.
That's a good word for it.
I don't know. I don't exactly know what to make of Zaire Williams. I wasn't, super enthused by his summer league, but you don't want to go too far with those things, one way or the other. So it's definitely, they're not in a bad place. I don't think they did a bad job, but I can see why people aren't, flipping backflips, down Main Street celebrating.
Right. And I guess you could say incomplete, but it's been a very, very busy offseason, but an offseason that doesn't give you a whole bunch of things to look forward to for at least this next season. Last thing for Keith Smith at Keith Smith NBA on Twitter. This week we learned the Rockets and John Wall are going to look to find a trade, but that John Wall contract is absolutely unbelievable. Owed $45 million the next 2 years. Where do you see him being moved to? What kind of situation? Is it going to be a salary dump where a team holds on to him for 2 years and then gets rid of his salary, or do you think he could possibly end up on a contender?
Yeah. Gee, I'm trying to think of a nice way to answer this without getting any of us in trouble here. I think that situation it's kind of one where I talked to a handful of teams after that news came out, and they're like, yeah, no kidding. They want to move John Wall, but it's $91 million over the next 2 years.
It's wild.
It's $44 million this year, and now that we're later in the off season, those moves are harder to make because you don't have teams that are sitting there on 50, 60 million in cap space that could maybe help facilitate. I think what happens is he stays right there in Houston. It becomes very similar to the Blake Griffin situation where just different because Griffin played almost up until the end and then sat out about a month. And then when there's not a trade that materializes, then I think what you see them do is at that point, while Wall and his camp say there's no buyout interest right now, I think we could see that change in a big, big way come February when it's like, hey, I want to play. I want to be on a team. And by then, we'll know there'll be a contender or two that needs a point guard that'll say, hey, John Wall for the minimum, and he's still getting 35+ million from Houston in a buyout. That starts to look pretty good for a guy like him. So that's my guess is where that goes. The one caveat I'll put in there is there the potential Houston jumps in as maybe a third team in on a Ben Simmons trade where you start seeing some big money move around 3 or 4 teams, and then maybe that's how you get John Wall moving if there is a structure where, hey, we can move some big money around because there's just no. It's as much as it kills me to say this, no one's trading for John Wall at that number because of his basketball ability right now. It's just not going to happen.
Keith Smith, great stuff. That off season was short. We're into it. We're close. We're close enough now to say off season's over. It never ends for you, and we appreciate your time with us every Thursday. And we'll do it again next week. Thank you, Keith.
Thanks, Keith.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
You got it. Keith Smith talking NBA with us. I've got an idea for you for the weekend. For tailgating Saturday on Tiger Lane before the Tigers-Mississippi State game, either spot. The new Collierville Commissary at Houston Levy and Poplar are the original in Germantown. If you're craving an easier way to order, start your order at commissarybbq.com or text commissary, 2 M's, 2 S's, to 33733. Commissarybbq.com or text commissary to 33733. If you don't want it for tailgate, go early to either place Saturday before the game, and you can hit it after the game with that perfect 3 o'clock starting time for all the restaurants in Memphis. It's really an ideal start time to the game on Saturday. Memphis-style barbecue at the commissary. The ribs so delicious. They're cooked the Memphis-style, slow, authentic Memphis-style, great food. Start that barbecue feast with the appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales or the barbecue nachos, where they were invented in the early 80s at the Germantown Commissary. The smoked chicken wings, they're fantastic. All those appetizers, that could be an entree if you want it to be, but you better be hungry. For football this weekend, on Friday night for high school, or Saturday for college, or Sunday TV viewing. All the fixings with it, beans, slaw, deviled eggs, and bread as well. Don't forget about the party pack, like the 6-pack or the 8-pack or the 12-pack. And as soon as we get into October, we're going to start that list for the holiday bird. The Germantown Commissary, Houston Levy, Collierville Commissary, Houston Levy, and Poplar are the original in Germantown, 901-754-5540, or online at commissarybarbecue.com. Save room for dessert, like the best lemon icebox pie I've ever had anywhere, the banana pudding, all the desserts, so very good. Again, 901-754-5540, online at commissarybarbecue.com. Gabe, I said earlier, there's not an advocacy group for you offensive linemen. When I asked Keith about the necks, well, obviously, it's a great answer with James Harden. Some of the veterans like Chris Paul, Damian Lillard. How come there's never an advocacy group for Mike Conley, ever?
I don't know.
You almost went there with Utah.
Real quick, last year, though, when some of the all-star selections wanted to sit out, there were some people advocating for him to get on that all-star team. I think he's well-liked around the NBA, but
but it's always an afterthought, isn't it?
It always is. He just never
we forgot about Mike Conley.
He never quite gets over the hump. right? When he talked about
and
the stars
just
in the
a great
league.
guy and great player. And last year, it was a couple teams. If they didn't do it last year, they may not. I thought that for Utah, and I sure thought it for Phoenix. Denver's another team, and one or two stars on Denver. They better start working on theirs, or that window will shut for them.
Yep, and I love Jokic, but can he recapture what he did this past season? I think he'll get close, but it's hard to replicate an MVP season.
It sure is. When we come back, we talk NFL. We'll talk the game tonight, the weekend ahead. We'll do it with Russell Copeland, Tiger star, NFL veteran, and also we'll get his thoughts on the Tigers and the Bullies Saturday at the Liberty Bowl Stadium at 3 o'clock. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
You have opinions?
The knowledge that I have matters.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
They've raised the bar again at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. I like to say this is the new standard, the way car business should be done. And to prove it, out of 355 dealers in America that sell Genesis cars, the one in Olive Branch, Genesis of Olive Branch, was top 50 in the country, top 10 in the region, and number 2 in the district. And guess what? They want to be number 1. That means there are opportunities out there for you. It's the safest, and every new latest bit of technology that makes the experience of driving a car better, they've got it at Genesis of Olive Branch. If we start with the G70, the highest performing car I've ever owned, all the way to the G80 or the G90, the biggest of the sedans, you'll love everything about the car. If you would like to try the new SUV, the GV80, you call Vinny Gerard at 662-890-6684. He will bring it out to you.
A celebration with ZZ Top. Take me downtown. This Sunday, Orpheum Theater. Playing all their classic hits. ZZ Top. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Say there was a place, the perfect place for everything you need for tailgates and patios, grills and chairs, charcoal and coolers, everything to make a great game or a great day. That perfect place wouldn't be a warehouse. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware. Locally owned and operated at Quince and White Station, East Memphis Ace Hardware is where you'll find Benjamin Moore paints, local plants from local growers, and Black & Decker tools. Around the block, what you need in stock with people who know their tailgates. Welcome to East Memphis Ace Hardware, the home convenience store.
The biggest game this Sunday is Chiefs versus Ravens, and FanDuel Sportsbook is about to make it even bigger because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can end the weekend right by winning $150 on a $5 bet. FanDuel is sports betting made simple, and they're always hooking you up with great offers. Plus, when you win, you'll get paid in as little as 24 hours. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Just sign up with promo code CASH this Sunday before the Chiefs take on the Ravens, and you can win $150 on a $5 bet. Remember to use promo code CASH so they know I sent you. Exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. New users only, $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Dave will be back with us tomorrow. Gabe Kunis, he has a lot over the last year, whether I had to be gone or Dave had to be gone or other shows. Gabe is so ably filled in. It'll be me and Gabe starting Monday, October 4th. We're going to have a little dry run on Friday, October 1st, but I'm only going to be with you for the last hour that day, Gabe, because I'm going to be traveling that weekend, getting to Tuscaloosa for the Ole Miss-Alabama game. But we're so excited about the future. We're excited about the future for Dave and his scaling back in his talk radio duties. He's still going to be high above Liberty Bowl Stadium for all the Tigers action for the foreseeable future. We hope a long, long time, and at FedEx Forum for Tigers games, and of course on the road with Tigers. He missed last week. He missed opening week against Nichols for a long scheduled that had to be adjusted from the 2020 date around Memorial Weekend because of COVID. That's why he was out that Saturday. I told him it was with the Tigers at a new carrier and him missing. I said, everybody's going to think you didn't make the movie because he goes, they'll figure it out. I made it. I just can't be there opening day. and Dave does not get too concerned about the optics and the dynamics of things like that. But I am really glad. I'm really looking forward to the future. I've had a great 30 years, mostly at this radio station. I've told Gabe and I've told Bryant I'm as excited about the next 5, 6, 7 year push. I hope it's not less than that, but I don't think it's going to be any more than that for me. I'm as excited about the future as I have been any 4, 5, 6 year period that I've been kind of planning for since I've been doing this. I'm looking so much forward to being with you, Gabe, and being with Bryant and us having fun in the afternoon. I know we're going to miss him in the afternoon when Dave goes in the morning because he's going to go with Dave, but we've got him for a few more weeks, and we'll check in with him periodically, and that's Russell Copeland, Tiger football star, NFL star with Buffalo. He joins us on Thursday afternoons to talk NFL, and tonight we've got a defensive game for sure with one side, Russell, tonight, but this quarterback play tonight, it's got to make general managers, coaching staffs very nervous to run these two quarterbacks out there against each other.
Absolutely, especially when you look at the Washington football team. You look at Heineke. I looked at him last year. I think he gets outside of the pocket, but everyone was dependent on Fitzpatrick to be able to lead this football team, even though he's hot and cold. And I think that was a devastating injury for not only him, but also for the Washington football team. But when you look at the New York Giants and you look at what Daniel Jones is trying to do, he simply has not lived up to expectations, and he has to be able to play well in order for this football team to win a game tonight. And we know, guys, last year the NFC East was the worst division in football, and now one of these two teams will go 0-2 tonight.
And, Russell, it sort of seems like with Daniel Jones, the sun is sort of setting on his time there in New York. It just has
very Jake Locker-esque.
Yeah, you have not. You just mentioned he has not lived up to expectations. And then when you come to re-up contracts, when you start talking about that fifth-year option, it just doesn't seem like the Giants are going to want to go that direction.
Especially, Gabe, when you are replacing a legend, you're replacing Eli Manning. Yep. So, playing in New York, there's been a lot of pressure on him. And something else, you look at Saquon Barkley, his injury last year, now coming back, he's not full speed. He does not have that running game to take the pressure off him. So right now, he's in the spotlight. He has to be able to show up. And tonight will be a big test for him going against that defensive front and that defensive line for the Washington football team.
Yeah, that injury so devastating last year. He showed more than glimpses of it in that rookie year. He was fantastic. Evan Ingram is hurt again. He's had a lot of injuries with the Giants. That's hurt. I just don't think they have anything approaching home run hitting in the receiving core.
Well, I like Kenny Galladay, and I like Sterling Shepard, and I also like Darius Slayton. I think those wide receivers are more than capable. But what Daniel Jones is going to have to do, he's going to have to protect the football, but get the football out of his hands, and let's see what type of playmaker he has outside. When I look at the 5 and the 7-step drops, when I watch him play, it seems like he's holding the football. He's indecisive. So that tells me either he's not learning the playbook or he's not comfortable with the defensive fronts and the coverages that he's seen. It tells me that they're fooling him. Let the football go, be confident, and let these playmakers let you look good.
And you know what? As far as GMs go, Dave Gettleman has gotten away with murder in that front office, considering what he's done. I mean,
and Jerry Reese did preceding him.
Right. You take Daniel Jones high. That didn't work out. Saquon Barkley, you took him high. I think it worked out, but you don't have an O-line to block for him. You take Andrew Thomas high last year at 4 when there was Tristan Wirfs, who was an All-Pro his rookie year. You had Mekhi Becton out there. You had Jedrick Wills. You had guys that could play, and you picked the worst of them first. So Dave Gettleman at some point, I feel like the Giants have to move on.
Absolutely. And then we forget about the Odell Beckham Jr. situation.
Right,
You have a franchise player. That does not work out. So right now there is a lot of pressure not only on the head coach, it's a lot of pressure on the entire organization, guys.
Russell, last weekend, your team, your former team, Buffalo, a lot of people picking them to be in a Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl, to be in the AFC Championship game. I don't think any of that is too aspirational. I don't think any of it crazy. At home, kind of had it going their way. Let the game slip away against the Steelers. It was a real prideful win, an organizational win for Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. Now they look up, and on week 2, they got to go to Miami and play a divisional game in the heat, at least no longer on the half baseball field, half football field like they used to have to run into. But Bills and Dolphins on Sunday. How do the Bills quickly get it back on track?
Well, I picked the Buffalo Bills to go to the Super Bowl, and it's very difficult for any team to go to the Super Bowl being 0-2. This right here is a big-time game for them. It's a divisional matchup, and it is one of those black and blue type of games. I think Sean McDermott will have this football team ready to go, but it just shows you guys it's the National Football League. You have to come to play every weekend. Playing at home with the high expectations, now it's time to get back to work. And it's not going to be an easy game down in Miami, but I think Sean McDermott will have this football team ready to play on the road.
I believe so, too. You have to have a redemption game. And I think also the Titans are in that boat. They need to have a redemption game this week. They're in a bad position after that week 1 game against
Are the Browns
Cardinals.
in that redemption boat? And they're heavy favorites at home.
Every team that went 0 for 1 last week, and we put them into the
redemption
playoffs.
Time.
Redemption time. And we're talking about the Titans, guys. I mean, I picked the Titans to do very well, and you look at them going to Seattle, that's going to be very tough. And as I just alluded to, 0-2 guys, it's tough to come off 0-2. And Green Bay Packers, they're in that same scenario.
How big of a Super Bowl, I guess, I'm not going to say favorite, but how big of a Super Bowl contender are the Rams after what you saw Matt Stafford do in week 1?
Guys, I don't know if you heard me last week, when I opened up on some of the other stations, but I picked the Buffalo Bills and the Rams to go to the Super Bowl. And I think I surprised some people. But when you look at the Rams, from a defensive standpoint, guys, I think they're good enough on defense. Matthew Stafford has a ton of weapons. He has a good running game. Darrell Henderson, our very own, I think he has to step up and be that guy. But this is a team that's very good offensively and defensively. But if they're going to win the Super Bowl, Matthew Stafford has to hit those plays. And let's just think about it. If he stands in there and hits those weapons, hit that defense, they can beat a lot of teams.
And he didn't miss many the other night. He didn't.
Absolutely.
And he's always been fearless. Hangs in that pocket and didn't have a lot of help, especially post Calvin Johnson years in Detroit. And everybody knew that Detroit wasn't going to go real far. But that pick last week, no, it didn't shock me, Russell, when you made that pick with us. And I heard you with John Harden also talking about it. That doesn't shock me. And if the Rams. They don't need to have a 40-point offense.
Nope.
They can go a long way scoring 24, 27, 28 because what Aaron Donald does up front, how he handles the double team, and you can forget sending one guy at him.
You got Aaron Donald, you got Leonard Floyd, you got Jalen Ramsey, Jordan Fuller on that backside. I mean, they have an outstanding defense, but when you look at them offensively, you got Darrell Henderson. I think he's a home run hitter if he can stay healthy. You got Sony Michel. He's going to learn the offense. You got You got Cooper Kupp. You got Deshaun Jackson, who can still run. Van Jefferson, Robert Woods. You also got a great tight end. Mm-hmm. Yes, Tyler Higbee. They have a team top to bottom, and they have an outstanding coach. And I just look at it and say, look, if they went to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, I think they feel the difference is at the quarterback position with Goff, and now you have Matthew Stafford.
And the team they played the other night on Sunday night, the Bears, in a very, very, very weird situation. Quarterback Andy Dalton starting. I don't know how good he is anymore. Obviously, he had his time with the Bengals with A.J. Green, but it looks like Justin Fields, especially through preseason, was the better player. If you're in that locker room right now, what's your feeling on the quarterback situation?
Well, you draft a guy high. And when you look at what Justin Fields brings and you look at how the team rallies around him in preseason, if I'm Matt Nagy, I start him. You know, I want to have a good veteran quarterback behind him, but we have to get out of the gate if I'm the Chicago Bears. And I look at the Bears organization much like, guys, the New York Giants situation. I would let Justin Fields come out and play. I would give him the opportunity. He can run outside the pocket. He can throw the football down the field. I think he brings excitement, and players want that. When I look at Andy Dalton, I'm not sure if he can still make the plays when called upon. I looked at him at Dallas last year. He didn't look very good, and he doesn't really look good early this year.
See, and from the outside looking in, my first thought on the whole Bears situation was I knew Andy Dalton was going to start game one, but I didn't necessarily want to see Justin Fields thrust in there against Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd, and then week 3 against Myles Garrett. But at some point, the player in me says, you got to play who can win the ball game. Whoever gives us the best chance to win has to be in there.
That's right, and you made a great point. Yes, he's going against that Rams defensive line, but when you look at where the Chicago Bears are from an organization standpoint, it's about winning games, and I think Matt Nagy is on the hot seat, and really Matt Nagy is supposed to be this offensive-minded guru, so he should be able to protect his quarterback, get him rolled down, let the ball come out of his hands, throw some quick screens, throw some quick slants. So I play the young man in order to win games, because now the defense is going to say, hey, what are we doing? Why do we draft this young man to be the franchise, and now we're looking at the same situation when you have Trubisky. It didn't work out with Trubisky. Let's get this young man in. Let's win the football game.
Russell, real quick, we're up against the clock, but real quick, give us a Tigers Mississippi State prediction. I know you know this game and this history well. I know you know Mississippi State well from your upbringing and proud Tiger superstar that you were. Real quick, your pick on that game.
Man, I love this matchup. I think it's going to be two brilliant minds offensively and defense. I think you got Leach, and he's going against Coach McIntyre. I think whoever can get the personnel, whoever can get the stops on defense, win this football game. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be rocking at the Liberty Bowl. I think it's going to be a high-flying, high shootout game. Give me the Tigers, but I think whoever has the football last probably will win the game.
I like that setup. Whoever has it last, it feels like that. It's going to be rock 'em, sock 'em. We said it's going to take 6 hours with all the throwing and all the clock. Russell, we've never played the game faster in college for it to take so long, have we?
No, we haven't. And something to you, Gabe, I think the offensive line for the Tigers have been terrific. I think they're going to have their biggest test. But if they can continue to block like they have and protect this freshman quarterback and open up those holes, we have an opportunity to slow the game down a little bit and get that type of momentum.
And you got to run the ball, and you got to get pressure after Will Rogers. That's so important in this game, because he'll sit back there and he'll pick you apart all day if you give him the chance to.
He is crafty. Russell, thank you. Enjoy Saturday, enjoy the weekend, or tonight and the weekend in the NFL, and we'll talk about it next Thursday with you. Thank you, Russell.
Thanks,
really
Russell.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Russell Copeland with us on Thursday, and we sure appreciate it. Tiger player. That was some wide receiving core back in the day. If they could play now. Steve Matthews with those guys now.
I think they think about that daily, being able to play in the spread out style of today.
You know, Gabe, back then, 23, 24 attempts, that was big.
Yeah, that
you
was
got
a lot.
up to 30, man. That made every head coach, man. What are we doing throwing the ball that much?
You were insane. You were a trailblazer. You're throwing the ball 30 times then.
That was BYU. They were throwing it 30, 35 times a game with Lavelle Edwards back then. But really appreciate Russell.
He does make a fantastic point about that Tigers O-line. They have, through 2 games, and granted, I understand we're talking about Nichols and we're talking about Arkansas State, but the physicality has been different. They have gone out of their way to establish the run, and they seem to have guys who have experience in trying to be physical early in games.
Ryan Silverfield 10-4 in his Tigers tenure. If he wins Saturday, 11-4. That's got to be the fastest to 11 wins for a Tiger head coach ever. I hadn't looked it up. I probably should do that tonight. That may be my Thursday night assignment while watching NFL.
And to think about all of the hurdles these first 2 years for him, my gosh! I mean, it's unbelievable to think about how many hoops he's had to jump through to get to these wins.
And he's done it with a lot of grace, When we come back, we round out hour number 2. You're listening to Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I thought we were done with this.
Say ya, Petey.
Don't call me Petey.
We're back, baby, doing Central Barbecue commercials.
This is very exciting.
Reminding everyone that there are 4 locations, all with that perfect Central Barbecue, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue.
You know, you don't really need me for these.
No, I want you for these. We're a team, you and me, telling the world about the best ribs in Memphis. Maybe the best ribs in the world, Central Barbecue ribs.
See, you didn't need me to do that, and don't call
Petey, Central Barbecue spots wouldn't be the same without you.
I think they would.
You know you love it, and there's no better barbecue than Central Barbecue.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. When I talk to people about selling their homes or buying one, my motto is stick to your game plan. I learned this from my friend Coach Terry Tippett. Coach, you didn't go into a game without having a plan, did you?
No, Sheldon. Having a plan was critical to the success of all my teams.
That's right, Coach. Sticking to your game plan helped you win 4 state championships.
That's wrong, Sheldon. It was 6, just like the number of shots you make on a par 3.
Well, Coach, we've played golf together. What advice can you give me about my game?
You probably need to stick to real estate, as you're much better at doing that. Or perhaps bowling.
Great advice about real estate, not bowling. And as I always tell people, if they're thinking of selling their home, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and let me be one of them. As they often say, when you want the job done, Coach, who should they call?
Sheldon, of course.
You can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear that 3's a charm at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah, so I'm ready to trade up to a Kia sales event with you, my man.
That's right, Randy. 3 rides, all just $248 a month. Take your pick from a 2022 Kia Soul LX, 2021 Kia Forte LXS, or a 2021 Kia Rio LXS. Your choice, $248 a month.
And Soul, longer, better warranty than Honda or Nissan. Forte, more passenger volume and thousands less than Honda Civic. And Rio, higher MPG and thousands less than Corolla. Plus, you'll get Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty program.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 72 months at 2.9 APR, $29.99 down. Sold in 716,174. MSRP $20,500. Forte ME $402,825. MSRP $20,055. Rio ME $427,894. MSRP $19,755. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF $695. Must finance through Kia on low APR. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 8/31/2021. Dealer stock only.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Olshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Gabe Kuhn, I want to know what your approach was. Let's say that Thursday night in 2015 before the big Memphis-Ole Miss game at Liberty Bowl Stadium. We know what Friday's like. Friday, you go to class, maybe friends and family coming into town. You check with them, maybe get tickets distributed. Right. Then you get over to the team hotel. What was Thursday night like? Because the cake's in the oven at this point.
Right. It was obviously you have your sort of walk-through day. We used to go just helmets that day. So after you get done with that, I was a massive, and this probably won't surprise you, I was a massive film guy, Brett. Loved it. Like, couldn't get enough of it. So I'd go through all of the practice film from that week, watch myself, go back and watch some of the clips, the blitz clips that they would put together. And then after that, I tried to, until that Saturday morning, I tried to wind down completely. Just take my mind off it, relax. Probably go out to dinner with some friends, my girlfriend, talk to my brother on the phone, go watch a movie. I just tried to keep my mind off of it because you don't want to bog yourself down. You've already done every bit of the preparation. You have all the film in front of you. At that point, just relax, rest, and get your body prepped.
And you said earlier in the week, the team, they know the stakes. That you knew how big that 2015 game, how big it was. You can win. You can win all the AAC games you want, but you get that one. You put that one on the wall. That's a big one, and this team has to know the very same thing. Now, if you lose, you go right back to worrying about the AAC. But if you win, you got it. They can't take it from you.
Yeah, no matter what happens in the game, it's got to be a next game mentality. You cannot sit back and rest on your laurels if you win the game. And if you lose the game, you can't get discouraged. Your whole schedule's in front of you in the AAC, so you don't need to worry about that. But it's always funny. I tell people, like, when you go out for an SEC opponent and a power conference opponent, that week of practice, the first time you guys come in for that pre-practice break after stretch, it's like a game is being played. You're jumping up and down and hooing and hawing, and it is funny, and I know that they're absolutely locked in this week in practice. I saw some of the post-practice remarks from Mike McIntyre, from Coach Silverfield, and they seemed happy. I mean, smiles on their face.
Big game week, big moment like that. Which one of the two? I don't want to drag you into which one was better, but just Coach Fuente versus Coach Norvell, because we know a lot of Coach Silverfield's really from more Coach Norvell.
It's interesting. I think no matter what, when you're playing this type of opponent, you're always going to have an edge. I do think playing under Coach Fuente, and I think you could sort of see where I'm going with this if you watch the 2014 Miami Beach Bowl, we had more of an edge under Coach Fuente. We played along the lines of we're Memphis, we're underrated, we are the underdog at all times. So I think there was a little bit more of an edge with Coach Fuente that we played to, but it was still there with Coach Norvell. But at that point, you're starting to recruit better. You're getting better facilities. You're starting to sort of see the progress of the program from what Fuente built. So I'd say at the time, because I think it's more of the timing of where the program was at, I think with Fuente we had this just serious edge about ourselves.
Did you feel the pressure of we're on display for conference realignment or bigger budgets and more season? Did you feel that pressure?
None. You don't worry about that.
Just
I'm going to go, I mean, for me, going into those weeks, I have Robert Kimdichie across from me, right? I'm worried about that one-on-one. I'm not worried about I'm not worried about realignment. I'm not worried about the fans. I am worried about winning that one-on-one.
Might be realigning your spine if you don't have a good approach.
Exactly. I'm worried about that one-on-one because I know the guy across from me has some juice to him. So when you talk about
Breland Speaks on that D-line too.
And it's interesting.
Pretty good D-line that
and
day.
He was backing him up. And that day in 2015, he brought it. Breland Speaks brought it that day. But
yeah, I thought he really played better down the stretch of that year than Robert did.
And it was interesting. They ended up moving him to outside linebacker when he got to the Chiefs. And
yeah,
it was a weird situation.
He was a little too small to be down in a stance and really not fast enough to stand him up and roam him around.
But I would imagine, given what's going on, what the news headlines are, maybe the guys on the team have those thoughts in the back of their head. But based on practice, based on the film you're watching, you're worried about that one-on-one, getting out in front of those fans, having fun, seeing the Liberty Bowl packed.
Yeah, and as the day unfolds, when the special teams come out first, they kind of get a smattering of applause, and then everybody comes out and get applause, and then the fans build. Then they hit the smoke and hit the fight song, and you know it's on.
Oh, my gosh. It's unbelievable. It's just the chills I get right this second just thinking about even that day in 2015. I mean, it's nothing like it when you can see the Liberty Bowl full. I hope we get to that point this weekend. I hope we can get to about 90%, 95%.
Whether it's Ole Miss or Mississippi State, I remember in the 70s a big Auburn game went to. I mentioned last week a big Arkansas State game in 75 that coincided with the Mid-South Fair. I talked about yesterday, Mississippi State. It's so much more fun when it's packed and stoked and rocking.
And it gets loud. It really does. Doesn't get enough credit for it, but it gets loud when that thing gets full.
And as the game wears on, you look at every flag in that stadium. It's a little bit like Wrigley Field. There's not two flags flying in the same direction. Every one of them's going in a different direction. I've never seen wind shear like it.
Right, and I always love the bowls in general, just because not a bad seat in the house. Good vantage point from everywhere.
The architectural layout of that stadium, it was perfect. Opened in 65, it'll be rocking Saturday afternoon. We come back, we'll talk to the man that'll be on the sidelines for the Tigers radio crew. That's our very own Greg Gasson. He's next to start hour number 3. You're listening to Sports Time on AM 560 and 98.5 with Gabe and Stats.
Grind City Brewing Company is taking care of beerness in Memphis. Grind City Brewing is the dream of a father and son duo to create a brand that delivers a high-quality, great-tasting, and easy-drinking craft beer. And they've done it. The brewery sits high above the city elevation in uptown Memphis with 15,000 square feet of beerness, including a 5,000 square foot tap room. Grind City Brewing is committed to all things Memphis, including the Tigers. They have created a malt liquor called Tiger Tail that is the official craft beer of the University of Memphis. Tiger Tail comes in 16-ounce six-packs and is not your typical malt liquor. Tiger Tail is crafted with a bold and smooth flavor, has 7.5% alcohol, and its clean finish makes it incredibly easy drinking. Tiger Tail and Grind City Brewing, taking care of beerness in Memphis.
The Tigers take on SEC opponent Mississippi State Saturday, September 18th at 3. Tickets are on sale now for just $60, sponsored by FedEx. We'll honor Memphis great and NFL Hall of Famer Isaac Bruce at the game. There will be a commemorative Isaac Bruce rally towel presented by FedEx Employees Credit Association. You don't want to miss this historic game. To lock in your seats for all the action, call 901-678-2331 or visit GoTigersGoTix.com. Saturday, September 18th, Memphis and Mississippi State.
It's hot outside and your air conditioner just quit. Quick, who do you call? Automatic Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing, of course, with 24-hour emergency service available. Automatic understands your house is unique, so they work fast to find the right solution for your family's comfort and budget needs. And with financing available and payments as low as $75 a month, it's never been easier to make your home comfortable. Call 363-4636 or go online to itsautomatic.com. Turn to the experts at Automatic Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One with a Thursday night football preview with an NFC East matchup between the New York Giants and the Washington football team. Both might want to forget about last week and restart the new season. Daniel Jones and the Giants are coming off a 14-point loss to the Broncos. Jones said after the game, there's plenty of room for improvements.
We certainly expect to score more points and expect to convert those opportunities in the red zone, but as a group, we're not going to get emotional about it or get too discouraged or down, but look at actually what happened and what we can correct in certain situations.
Washington will see Taylor Heineke start at quarterback, replacing the injured Ryan Fitzpatrick. Join us for NFC East action in primetime. Ian Eagle and Tony Baselli will have the call on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly. Auto Parts.
Is your career taking you where you want to go? With Saia LTL Freight's best-in-class benefits, signing bonuses, and competitive pay, it's easy to see why we have the longest tenure in the industry. So whether it's cross-country travel, being home nights and weekends, or working from the terminal, we've got a career for you. Drive your future forward. Visit workatsaia.com. That's workatsaia.com.
Hey Mid-South, it's time to reclaim your freedom in your new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi 1870 Covington Pike. Make your mileage count with 43 mpg and lane departure warning in your 2021 Mitsubishi Mirage. $179 per month. Get more standard equipment than Ford Escape or Mazda CX-5 in your new 2022 Eclipse Cross with effortless technology at $299 per month. Plus, relax and enjoy the ride with My Pilot Assist in your new 2022 Outlander, $319 a month. And we stand behind our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 84 months, $500 military rebate. Mirage MH009-694, MSRP $17,490. Outlander NZ023330, MSRP $29,315. Eclipse NZ003186, MSRP $27,725. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF $695. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 9/30/21. Dealer stock only.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Greg Gaston from the Tiger sideline coming up momentarily. I want to tell you about FanDuel this weekend. The NFL back in a big way last Thursday night into Sunday night, into Monday. And FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week, every single week of the NFL season. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more. If your bet doesn't win, FanDuel, they will pay you back up to $10. On Sunday, I think the toughest luck 0-1 team is the Browns. The luckiest, most fortunate 1-0 team is the Texans. So go with and against all that. Browns, lay the points, minus the 12, go over the 48, and Baker Mayfield, I love him to go over his passing yards number in that game. So 3-teamer, that's my 3 legs for the same game parlay. Browns minus 12, over the 48, and Baker Mayfield to go over in the passing yards. There's no feeling like nailing a same game parlay bet. So lock in your bet today on FanDuel Sportsbook and get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. New to FanDuel Sportsbook, you also can claim your 30-1 odds on either team to win in the biggest game this Sunday night, Chiefs versus Ravens. Just sign up for promo code CASH. That's promo code CASH. Must be 21 and or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and on the web. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales. They're at 5704 Goodman Road, online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience you've come to know and you've come to love. All the cars test-driven, all checked out thoroughly, every make, every model, and you will be treated like family by the kind, courteous staff at DeSoto Auto Sales. No high-pressure sales whatsoever. The direct opposite of that. They want you to enjoy, have the ultimate car experience because they know we live in a world that time really matters. They're not rushing you. This is just their guarantee. They care about your time. You walk in, find the car you want, test drive it, credit approved, paperwork completed. You're out of there in 45 minutes or less, in time to do it over your busy lunch hour or like right now and get home in time to watch football tonight. It's that simple at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience. Joining us now from the Tigers sideline, he's with us year-round on Thursday afternoons at 5 o'clock. Gabe, I love talking to Greg. He's brought to you by, and a new sponsor today. We welcome them to the team, Wilkinson's Liquor and Wines, Neil's Bar and Grill, 3A Collisions, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, South Hall Cafe, and Mid-South Hobbies. Greg, I've asked Gabe, ending the 4 to 5 hour, what it's like for the players and their feeling leading into the weekend. Even for us old announcers, is there a special step on Saturday, isn't it?
I would think so, right? I mean, Gabe, I'm sure, answered it. There's a little bit extra in your giddy up when you get ready for a game of this magnitude for the Tigers. And I know the coach, Ryan Silverfield, was on with us earlier today on middays. Will downplay it a little bit, a little coach speak, although he said that's not what he was doing. He treats every game the same, and coaches
it's different than Nichols.
Exactly. But look, come on. There's a difference between gearing up for Nichols. There's a difference between gearing up for an SEC opponent. They got an opportunity to make some noise. Sure. Right, Gabe? I'm sure you answered it that way, correct?
No. One game at a time, Greg. Absolutely. No, of course there is.
Speak.
Of course.
That's broadcasting speak right
of course there's more for Mississippi State than there is for Nichols State.
Yeah, let's not get this confused here, because this is an opportunity. These guys know it's an opportunity. They're playing on their home field. They're playing in front of their home crowd. There will be a nice contingent of Mississippi State fans. This is a great opportunity for the Tigers.
So last week, 500, and I don't even want to give the exact number of passing yards. Obviously, I think the quarterback switch going to James Blackman for Arkansas State was part of that. I don't know how the defensive backfield sort of handled that. They didn't handle it very well. But do you think that was an outlier, or are we in for a tough day against Mississippi State?
Well, I think it's a little bit of an outlier, but there's still reason to be concerned anytime you give up those type of numbers. The Tigers certainly got pressure in the first half on Hatcher, and then in the second half, all of a sudden there was no pressure on Blackman. They seemed to be dog-tired out there, and they had the depth. Arkansas State didn't have the depth, but there are reasons, there are factors, too, of why that happened. I'm not putting all the blame on the turnovers, but when you give the team short fields to play with, your defense is on the field an awful lot, it'll add up after a while. So I to answer your question, not dodging the question here, I need to see more. I don't think this is going to be Will Rogers going out there and just slinging it everywhere. He's going to throw the ball an awful lot because that's what they do in the air raid. But I think they'll play better in the secondary. The Tigers will. I just think it was a combination of things. They got a little fat when they and when I say fat, fat and lazy when you get up 18 points. I think they took it a little bit for granted. Then they got tired as they were out on the field a lot. They had a new quarterback in there who certainly gave them a spark. I think all those factors combined to make it a real porous second half performance by the defense, in particular the secondary.
But some of that Saturday night you can write off to this era of football. Yep. It's so high scoring. Those defensive guys, they almost don't have a chance because your offense, they're not going to slow it down just where you can catch your breath. They're going to score. And then you're back out there and go, I didn't even get a drink of water.
And the good news is the explosive plays are back after last year having trouble with them.
That's the real good news. But you're right, Brett. You had a couple of plays that was, a one play drive. And, all of a sudden, you got a defense that just was out there getting back onto the field. Yeah, you're right, and a couple of other things too. As Coach Silverfield and Coach McIntyre would tell you, that the Tigers' defense, there were many times in that game that they were in position to make the plays. Right scheme, right defensive play called. They were in their position. They just didn't make the play. There was the tip play made by the White Station guy,
Greg Rubin.
He tips it. He just mistimes his jump. That led to a touchdown because the guy caught it off the tip and scored a touchdown. There were times when they were in position to make plays they did not. There were also some penalties. I think some certainly were against Memphis, and they were, I would say, good calls. There were a couple of other ones that just seemed to come out of nowhere. It was a phantom call by the back judge from the end zone about 30 yards away from the play. And you start making those type of mistakes coupled with you're tired, and Arkansas State's fired up as they got a new lease on life with the quarterback that came in, which is the complete opposite of the first game they played when it was Hatcher coming in to relieve Blackman. This time it was Blackman coming in for Hatcher. So you put all those factors into it, and you can see why the Tigers had some issues in the secondary. But that's not the answer for everything. There is certainly a little bit of concern going into this game.
Yeah, and speaking of Greg Rubin, one of the interesting stats I saw today, he has 8 PBUs this year, which leads the country. What have you thought of him through his first 2 games?
I love him. I mean, he is aggressive. He gets his nose dirty. I really like that young man. And again, this is the deepest the defense has been in a number of years. Coach will tell you that. Coach Mack will certainly tell you that. So you can get players in that you feel confident in, just like you would your starters. The problem is when you play teams, as you know, Gabe, that run those type of offenses, and Arkansas State did that, it doesn't give your defense a chance to get substitutions.
Yep.
So you're not utilizing that depth. And with the air raid, it's going to be another one of those deals where they're going to try to get a lot of plays off, quick passes to receivers, get blocks on the edges, try to get yards after catches, what they're very good at.
I would imagine tempo will be a big part of the game plan. You look at even last year, and we just saw Arkansas State with the tempo, how they sort of shredded up that defense. Even last year, think about UCF. I know it was a win, first win in a long time against UCF, but that tempo killed that defense last year.
Oh, there's no question about it. Now you're going to have tempo against you the second straight week. So that certainly plays a factor. And I don't know what else you can do from a defensive coach standpoint in trying to get subs in when they're going right up to the line, barking out signals and trying to get a playoff. You can't be substituting guys who are out of position. They might snap the ball while you have 12 guys on the field or something like that. So you are stuck with everybody that's on the field, and if it's times in the second half when they're starting to get tired, then they're going to miss plays.
Greg, I know in the years of will Mike Leach ever land in SEC, I know what I said. I can remember what I said because I'm pretty consistent with it. I never said that system would not work. The only thing I said, and I've repeated it some this week on the Mississippi shows, and I know you've done them. We've kind of been on a conveyor belt with the Mississippi guys on our shows and us on their show. All I said about Mike Leach, and this was after being around him at the Cotton Bowl with Ole Miss against Texas Tech, that system will work in SEC. That system will work in Deep South, college football. Can he, with his quirky personality? I think he has worked so far at Mississippi State.
Yeah, last year was interesting. They had that great game to start the season off with Costello breaking the passing record, and you thought, oh, my gosh, these guys are going to be unbelievable. And then they came back to earth, and they took their poundings at certain times. But
he cleared out the locker room a little bit.
Right. You got to remember, he's inheriting a lot of those guys. He did clean out some of it. He brought some of his guys in, but
I'll call names. He told Kylan Hill to hit the road.
Yeah, well, that was that may have gone beyond just football, right? There was a lot with Kylan and the whole state flag and the whole deal with that. But I won't. I don't know all that information. I'm just kind of looking at the outside looking in, and maybe there was more than just football. But look, Mike's going to get his guys in that work in the air raid. So you got to give them a little bit of opportunity. I love that Mississippi State rolled the dice, that they go after a guy like this. I love that Ole Miss brought in Lane Kiffin. I was so excited about those two hires in the SEC. You're trying to figure out anything to bring down the great Nick Saban. And I'm not saying that Ole Miss is in position or Mississippi State's in position, but you're going to do some things that are a little bit outside the box, right? A little bit unorthodox. And that's exactly what they did. So we'll see if it works in the long run. And what is success, according to Mississippi State fans? Because as long as Nick Saban's at the helm at Alabama, you're playing for second place or thereabouts. Because winning that division unless it's LSU a couple of years ago and what they were able to do to win the national championship. It's going to be hard to come by with Sir Nick at the helm.
So through the first two games, Brandon Thomas has run for the most in America. I don't know the exact number, 330-something, averaging about 10 yards a carry. How do you think the Memphis O-line will fare against that Mississippi State D-line? They have done a great job of stuffing the run. Randy Charlton, one of their DNs, Cameron Young, who's sort of a big, beefy nose tackle who sort of gets in the way and stuffs some runs. But they did a good job against NC State. How do you think the Memphis O-line and running game will fare?
Yeah, maybe the biggest storyline in that game, the story within the story, is how this improved Tigers offense can go up and do good things to open up holes for Thomas and company against that stout Mississippi State front. I think it's going to be awfully tough. So I think what it does, it puts a lot more pressure. I don't know if it's pressure because he's Mr. Cool, but Seth Hennigan is going to have to sling that ball around. I wouldn't be surprised if the Tigers struggle a little bit in the run game, and that's not a knock on the offensive line. It's just they're going up against bigger, badder guys than they faced in the first two games. If they can get that running game going against State, I feel really good about their chances to win the contest. But if not, it's going to be Hennigan in the passing game. And we know that State has struggled a bit against the pass. So if Seth gets some protection, now remember, he got hit around pretty good at Arkansas State, got sacked 4 times, and he proved to everybody he could take a lick. He's a big kid, got up there and started slinging touchdowns himself. But he's got to get a little bit of time, and if he does, there's a chance he can do some damage against them, pick them apart a little bit. But if the running game for the Tigers, it's going to be hard to think that they can run the ball like they did against Arkansas State, against Mississippi State's front. But if they could just run it with some success, it's going to make things a lot easier on the passing game.
Yeah, you just really don't have that 8-play, 6.5, 7-minute drive anymore. But how about a 5, 6-play, 4.5, 5-minute? Because in real time, that's about 15 minutes, and that gets the big fellas some time to take off and get ready to go back out there. Seth Hennigan sure looks like he's got it. I don't mean this to malign anybody, but he may have. I don't know if he did or didn't, but in that football crazed area, he may have played in high school in front of crowds bigger than he played in the first 2 games in as Tiger quarterback.
Yeah, I was thinking about that same thing probably about a week ago.
Now that'll change Saturday.
Yeah, what was he? Was he 7A? He was in one of the bigger divisions, wasn't he, in Texas?
I don't know their classifications, but I
believe so though.
Their Class A stadiums are huge.
Absolutely. So I would imagine that he played not only in front of big crowds, but he probably played against some really good defensive players that have moved on to good programs around the country. That's why I wasn't real concerned when he had a clean game against Nichols where he wasn't hit at all, and then you knew he was going to get hit sometime during the Arkansas State game, a little bit more than Ryan Silverfield would have liked, but it just showed the toughness of the kid. His father's a coach, so I guarantee you he was hit pretty good in high school with the talent that's in that great state for high school football.
Yeah.
Look, I know it's only 2 games. 2 games does not make a career, but I cannot believe how calm that guy is. That's his first road game, and it wasn't like a crazy hostile environment, but it was still a road game, for goodness sakes.
I just can't believe. I mean, we've had a stretch of quarterbacks at the University of Memphis that not a lot of teams around the country can say they've had. Paxton Lynch, Riley Ferguson, Brady White all in a row. I think that through the first 2 games, and granted it hasn't been the highest of competition, but through the first 2 games it seems like Seth Hennigan is off to the best start of all of them.
Yeah, give a lot of credit to these coaches that have been at Memphis, and of course Ryan Silverfield now, to see talent, to see the talent not only at the quarterback position, but really throughout the field, from defense to offense to skill position players to linemen. They've done a great job in recruiting. But yes, the quarterback, the key, the most important position out there in football and maybe in sports, period. Everybody knows or should know the story about Paxton Lynch, how they kind of lucked into him. You had Riley Ferguson, who was, I don't want to say a Tennessee reject, but he didn't make it there, and he's doing construction, and he comes here and he lights it up. And and then you go out and get Brady White, who had a shot in the Pac-12 a little bit, but not highly regarded. And then you go out and you get Grant Gunnell as a transfer, and you think you're in great shape. And here all of a sudden, here comes this freshman quarterback who led his team to a state championship, and maybe one of the more accomplished high school quarterbacks that Memphis has ever had. But he wasn't expected to be the guy this year. Let's be honest. He was in a battle, but most believe it was Gunnell. For him to step up the way he has, and don't think for a second the early enrollment for him in January hasn't helped. I can guarantee you that. Right, Dave? If he comes in August, I don't even know if he's starting. It might be one of the other Keelan. It might be Keelan
Brown.
starting.
The fact you have to grasp an offense, especially at the college level. And granted, he came in with a step ahead. He's the son of a coach. He understands the game at a high level. But that you cannot overstate that enough. It's so important to get in there early. And that's probably the reason he's doing what he's doing right now, is that he came in early. You can't just come in and play one fall camp and expect to be clicking on all cylinders. So I agree with that without question. And I did just check. He went to Ryan in Texas. That's 5A, I think so.
5A.
It's up there.
That's big,
that's still huge ball in Texas.
Yeah. It is.
Brandon Thomas, what have you thought of him through the first two games? Hard not to think of him very, very highly, but is he just sort of the next in line of Memphis running backs that may head to the NFL?
Oh, I've been so impressed. Now, this is one guy who Ryan Silverfield just kept singing his praises. And probably most of us, I can't speak for anybody but myself, you just question, well, okay, we'll see, because you saw the contingent of running backs last year, and Thomas got a little taste, just a tiny taste, but not much. But you saw the contingent of running backs, and you go, okay, they're good, but where's the next Henderson? Where's the next Gibson or Pollard, or on and on and on and on, right? They weren't there, or at least we didn't think they were there. But he kept talking about Thomas. And then you watch Thomas through these first two games, the power and the speed. That's a Darrell Henderson combination, the power and the speed. I'm not saying he's as fast as Henderson, but, man, he's got both. He's got speed and power. He has been a breath of fresh air for this running attack. I hope he can continue at this level, because if he does, look out for this team and for his career at the next level.
And he played at the highest level in Arkansas high school football at North Little Rock for the Charging Wildcats. All right, Greg, I'm not going to ask you for a score. Just give me a trading range. Game in the 20s, 30s, 40s, or 50s?
I think this will be a game in the 30s, and I think it'll be a close game. I do. I'll be honest with you. Of course, I want the Tigers to win. I'll be on the sideline on the broadcast. I think it's going to be a challenge because of what I saw last week. Now, if that defensive secondary picks up where they were in game one and plays like that, well, they have a great chance to knock off an SEC opponent.
Mississippi State, we haven't really talked too much about them, but offensively, outside of Will Rogers, who's the guy you look at that you think could give the Tigers the most trouble? Is it
Wally, the
okay.
receiver? I love him. I absolutely love him.
He's their Calvin Austin.
Yep. He's their stud.
Fell in love with him last year. I think he's going to be a pro one day, and that's the guy you got to be very concerned with.
He caught everything in the Egg Bowl, and he was under the last play of the game heave that was barely knocked away. Will Rogers floated that thing. It was in the air forever. I saw my whole life flash in front of me while the ball was in the air, and it came up just shy. And everybody talks just what a competitor Will Rogers has been all of his life in anything in sports. Greg, thank you so much. It'll be great for you guys on Saturday. I'll be thinking about you. It's really two good SEC, AAC games in our area Saturday, with the Tigers and the Bullies at 3 and Ole Miss and Tulane against the Greenies at 7 in Oxford. Thank you so much, Greg.
See you tomorrow.
You're
Greg.
welcome, guys. Take care.
Greg Aston with us every Thursday afternoon. He's brought to you by Wilkinson's Liquor and Wines, Neil's Bar and Grill, Mid-South Hobbies, 3A Collisions, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, and South Hall Cafe. Greg mentioned that trading range. I don't think anybody thinks it's going to be in the 20s, do they?
I don't know. I think.
Who's that in favor of if it is, Gabe? If it's 28-27, who wins that one?
I don't know. Honestly, this is one of those games that I I picked the Tigers, but I think it'll be more in the 40s. That's sort of my guess. But
Ooh,
I would say one. I would say a lower scoring game probably favors Mississippi State.
As Russell said, last team to have the ball. It could be the ball into the end zone like the Egg Bowl ended. It could be floating in there with people having heart attacks.
You were asking Greg 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. I was hoping he'd one up you and say 60s because based on what we saw last week of that Tigers secondary, I can see where a lot of people would be concerned.
Do you think it's a big deal or no deal at all for the Liberty Bowl Stadium to officially say no artificial noisemakers, no cowbells?
I have a hard time believing there won't be one cowbell in the stadium.
There's always one.
There's always one. At least one. They'll find a way to sneak it in.
Ring responsibly, State. That's what they say when you go to games there. Ring responsibly. And they usually do. I love talking about Belly Acres. Brings you Barrett Jones every Wednesday with us, and we've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun going there and enjoying the delicious food and getting to know all the people there. They were with us at SEC Media Days. They were with us for the golf tournament. They're going to be with us year-round, and we sure appreciate it. Belly Acres' motto is City-Fied, Farm Fresh. The goal is simple. Provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the whole family. 2 great locations and another one on the way. Regalia at 6130 Poplar and at Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Overton Square hours Sunday through Thursday, 11 a to 9 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 11 a to 10 p.m. Regalia Sunday through Thursday, 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef. Sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The burgers, like the Dare-Ya or the Double Dare-Ya, and the melt in your mouth, and you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. When you go in there, sports on every TV, no matter the time of day. You get in there early for lunch at, say, 11:15, sports. Stay till 1, sports. Dinner time, sports. That's what they like, and we like them. It is the quality brand. The Belly Acres team, they've developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Belly Acres, to become even more sustainable as they grow. Right now in Overton Square in Regalia, and soon announcing a 3rd place. The very best quality available in Memphis. Burgers, shakes, and smiles at Belly Acres. When we come back, we'll catch up on the afternoon baseball. Lighter schedule tonight for baseball. See what else is trending and get ready for Taco Bell crunch time to wrap up this Thursday afternoon. You're listening to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world at sports56whbq.com or on the Sports 56 app.
For years, I have talked to you about James Davis, the finest men's store in all of Memphis, the service, the selection, everything that goes with quality. And I've told you recently about the Stant Perfect Fit shirts. Well, now there's the Stant Perfect Fit pants. Absolutely amazing. Only 2 measurements fed into a computer, and all of a sudden, you've got the perfect fit pants. I'm talking everywhere. The leg, the seat, the bottom, all made to fit your body absolutely perfectly. And there's 80 different fabrics to choose from. You will find the right look, the right fit, almost instantaneously. They start at $162, but you will never find a better pair of pants than these at James Davis Men's Store. And the shirts are still there, and guess what? It's the only place in Memphis that you can find Stant. That's the James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. They've raised the bar again at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. I like to say this is the new standard, the way car business should be done. And to prove it, out of 355 dealers in America that sell Genesis cars, the one in Olive Branch, Genesis of Olive Branch, was top 50 in the country, top 10 in the region, and number 2 in the district. And guess what? They want to be number 1. That means there are opportunities out there for you. It's the safest, and every new latest bit of technology that makes the experience of driving a car better, they've got it at Genesis of Olive Branch. If we start with the G70, the highest performing car I've ever owned, all the way to the G80 or the G90, the biggest of the sedans, you'll love everything about the car. If you would like to try the new SUV, the GV80, you call Vinny Gerard at 662-890-6684. He will bring it out to you.
Farmers want to make sure you got your favorite things covered and will give you a discount for doing it. Their auto multi-policy discount gives you up to 45% off your auto insurance for bundling policies like boat, motorcycle, RV, home, and life. It's just one of the many ways that you can save with Farmers. Call Daniel Chad Gallen at 901-235-1176 to learn more or get a quote.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available with select Farmers branded policies subject to terms and conditions. Underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges, Farmers New World Life Insurance Company or affiliate.
Memphis, it's official, honey. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp, chicken, salmon, and fried lobster pastas. There's snow crab, king crab, dungeons, and more. Please don't forget about the calamari, shrimp, and lobsters, honey. The portions, the price, the taste is only at Crab Kings. Download our app and search Crab Kings on Google. Visit us at crabkingstn.com. Crab Kings, where the flavor is king.
The biggest game this Sunday is Chiefs versus Ravens, and FanDuel Sportsbook is about to make it even bigger because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can end the weekend right by winning $150 on a $5 bet. FanDuel is sports betting made simple, and they're always hooking you up with great offers. Plus, when you win, you'll get paid in as little as 24 hours. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Just sign up with promo code CASH this Sunday before the Chiefs take on the Ravens, and you could win $150 on a $5 bet. Remember to use promo code CASH so they know I sent you. Exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. New users only, $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear that 3's a charm at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah, so I'm ready to trade up to a Kia sales event with you, my man.
That's right, Randy. 3 rides, all just $248 a month. Take your pick from a 2022 Kia Soul LX, 2021 Kia Forte LXS, or a 2021 Kia Rio LXS. Your choice, $248 a month.
And Soul, longer, better warranty than Honda or Nissan. Forte, more passenger volume and thousands less than Honda Civic. And Rio, higher MPG and thousands less than Corolla. Plus, you'll get Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty program.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 72 months at 2.9 APR, $29.99 down. Sold in 716-1784. MSRP $20,500. Forte ME $402,825. MSRP $20,055. Rio ME $427,894. MSRP $19,755. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF $695. Must finance through Kia on low APR. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 8/31/2021. Dealer stock only.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Gabe, an interesting schedule for the AAC coming up this weekend. Tomorrow night, Central Florida, they go to Louisville to play the Cardinals. Then on Saturday, the much-anticipated Cincinnati trip to Indiana. How much should AAC loyalists, Tigers fans, be pulling for those teams that are headed out the door?
You know what? I asked myself the same question. It's interesting that you brought it up because I don't know. I guess from a conference standpoint, you want to keep showing that you're the strongest group of 5.
Absolutely.
But you
still pull for them.
But you know that they're out the door. So
they are, but they're also the model. They did it, so can Memphis. At the same time, I think Central Florida will handle Louisville. I don't think Louisville is very good. Cincinnati, it's not an upset because they're favored, but they went on the road at the Big Ten on the same Saturday that Memphis potentially upsetting Mississippi State. That shows, hey, they can do it too. They need to get that elevation.
Yeah, and granted,
that promotion.
It's in the back of your head that they are leaving, but you can't blame them in any way, shape, or form. They have
Tigers
to leave
would be
for
going
autonomy.
to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anybody who got offered a spot in the Big 12 would be out. So yes, you still pull for them, but it is in the back of your mind. It's different than it was a month ago.
But does it change anything when you have a team like Cincinnati that almost doesn't even claim the American anymore? They run out with a Big 12 logo on their flag. I mean, that's got to sit wrong with you.
Boy, they did big time us on the way out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It's a different thought process than it was a month ago, and that's the truth of it. But I think if you're an AAC fan, that you have them till 2023, you still root for them.
Now, administration, from Dr. Rudd in the athletics department, from Laird, they have to say all the right things. We don't have to do that. We're talk radio. We can say anything we want to. We can be bombastic. They have to be political and judicious in their comments, because you might look up and be in a meeting with them as a member of the Big 12 in a few years. But for Firebrands, for Tiger fans, there's got to be a little bit of, I don't care whatever happens to them again.
You're talking about in regards to
Cincinnati and UCF.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of goes along with what I was saying. It's just the thought process on those teams is not what it was a month ago. When you're playing them, regardless, you want to go ahead and beat them. But
right.
I think when it comes to bowl season, when you're playing big out-of-conference opponents, you still want them to win to make that conference.
I saw it with Arkansas's move to the SEC. They moved for basketball. They played the fall of '91 football in the Southwest Conference, and then moved into basketball in the SEC in January of '92. Basketball was kind of the first bite of the apple. That year before that, and they were real good, and they were used to kind of getting that treatment anyway on the road. But people really brought it in those basketball arenas. All these places.
Look,
Kelvin Sampson's going to get it like he can't imagine.
No, until 2023, I can't. I mean, when you're talking about in-conference games, I mean, they get what's coming to them. I mean, there's not going to be fans.
Tough toenails.
The fans that are going to be left behind in the AAC are not going to be happy with them.
Same for OU
but
in
such
Texas.
is life. You have to deal with these things. I mean, all of those fans, though, probably recognize if they were invited to the Big 12, they'd do the same thing. So there's always going to be that thought in the back of your mind is, I mean, they're doing what's best for them. I'd do the same thing if put in that situation.
The regional matchup Saturday, and not just because I'm going to be at one of the game and we talk about a lot of these teams. I think I'd say the same thing if I was doing this where your brother does. I really do. I like these matchups. I wish I could watch a little more of the Tiger game. I really hadn't gotten to watch in live play a Tiger play yet. It's been a conflict, and Saturday will present the same thing. But the four quarterbacks, the two matchups, enough to plenty of history with both, with State and the Tigers, with Tulane and Ole Miss. I like this regionality Saturday.
Oh, my gosh. I'm excited to see what Michael Pratt can do against Ole Miss.
I'm scared to death of him.
I would be too.
He's got wheels, too.
I think Ole Miss will win that game. But as far as a cover goes, I think 14's a pretty hefty number when you're talking about that Tulane team that played that Oklahoma
14
team within
and a hook.
5. Played them within 5, that Oklahoma team. So I am excited, very excited to see all four quarterbacks. But also I want to see the Cincy-Indiana game. Cincy has not, against Murray State, they sort of floundered in the first half offensively. I want to see if they can go against a Big Ten defense and bring it to them.
I know he's not near sexy enough for USC, but if USC just wanted to hire a really dang good football coach, why wouldn't you have Tom Allen on the list?
Yes, I hear that, but I said this earlier, and Tom Allen sort of reminds me of this as well. Luke Fickell was another name, right? Defensive coach from the Midwest. I see those guys more as Skyline Chili guys than avocado toast guys. The West Coast just doesn't seem like a big fit for them. And I think with that USC job, the biggest thing you have to focus on is capturing the mindset of the fans, capturing the mindset of the recruits, and recruiting that fertile ground right there. Yeah. So I love those coaches. I think they're fantastic, but I think they're good where they're at. I've
said so many times about Tom Allen and about Mark Stoops, two ultimate ultimate basketball schools, basketball states, where it's just a religion. We know how much it means from every level, youth levels to high school to IU and to UK, the jobs they're turning in at those places just to get relevant. At Indiana, still the winningest all-time coach is Bill Mallory with a sub-500 record. At Kentucky, Bear Bryant is still the winningest all-time football coach. Stoops getting ready to knock that off. What they've done is remarkable.
Brett, I've had this conversation multiple times this week because it's come up with the USC job opening. What are the best jobs in America? And Texas is always on there. USC, Ohio State, for good reason, Alabama. I understand those. But do we have to take into account at this point in time with how much coach turnover we've seen at Texas and USC?
Yeah.
Do we have to take into account stability at certain programs? Because I look at like a place like Kentucky, and I'm not saying it's the best job in America. You take Alabama over Kentucky, but Kentucky is a place you win 7 games a year. You have a statue. In front of the stadium.
Hal Mummy had a
20
street.
years.
They had to go take the sign down after the NCAA trouble, but Hal Mummy had a street named after him in Kentucky.
So I think it's weird. It's a weird conversation because, yes, those programs I just mentioned have the most money. They can give you the most money. You're going to have a lot of recognition in those places. But if you go to a place like Texas who has these sky-high expectations and they're going to be in the SEC and they have just a rabid fan base and rabid donors, it's tough. It's tough, and I think that needs to be taken into account more. A job that I think through these conversations has got underrated mightily is Oregon. Oregon seems like a very plush situation to be in right now.
Well, they did it over a bunch of coaches. Rich Brooks, Bellotti, Helfrich. Who am I leaving out in there?
Kelly.
Yeah, Chip Kelly in there. They've had a run of a lot of success with coaches, and now the Tigers with 3 straight. There are a lot of places that can't get 3 straight, much less that run of coaches that Oregon had. I mean, Helfrich, it didn't end well for him, but he had a Heisman Trophy winner and got him in a national championship game.
Yeah, and you see the rumors of Mario Cristobal maybe heading to USC, and that may be a possibility. But I look at that Oregon job, and I just wonder why you'd want to leave it. You have the Phil Knight money. You have the Nike money. You have a great fan base. You're making money hand over fist. You have a good basketball. I mean, everything about Oregon just seems like a fantastic situation, and I don't know if it gets the credit that it deserves in the coaching conversations.
And then a place like your brother covers that has nailed it with Kurt Ferentz for so long, and then before him, Hayden Fry, and now what Iowa State has. Matt Campbell's name's got to get mentioned in USC job, doesn't it?
It absolutely has, but is he enough for them? Is he the splash that they want?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
After Clay Helton, I think that big pro gravitas, that big press conference.
The Bob Stoops name has come up again. It's just some of the names, and you knew it would happen. But some of them.
Do you believe Urban Meyer?
What he said yesterday?
Yeah.
He was awful quiet, and he didn't make eye contact. But other than that, I guess I believe him. No, I don't believe him. And not to mention, he can say that.
Any coach.
He can say.
I'm sorry.
He can say that now. It's week 2 of the NFL season. They're not going to make a hire until January, February at USC. It'll be rumored until then, but they're not going to make a hire anytime
do you believe
soon.
Urban Meyer, Bryant?
Not for a chance.
No.
Or not for a second, I guess.
Not for a second.
Not for a chance.
I don't either. I like them, but I know when they say they're not interested, I know they pay somebody a lot of money to be interested.
It was even different because I remember the Nick Saban one. I will absolutely not leave for Alabama, and he was gone. But with the Urban, he's saying no chance, but he was very quiet.
We're going to build something special
It's
here.
like he practiced that and then just said it under his breath when they asked him the question.
And then texted somebody, how'd it go over?
It was exactly how I'd expect Urban to answer that question, though.
Anybody he texted, knowing they had to tell him, oh, Coach, it went over well, when they should have told him, Coach, nobody believes
you.
And
then obviously the James Franklin rumors came through, and he took a different approach. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that today, but he basically said, "I'm not going to tell you yes. I'm not going to tell you no." Because
that
whatever.
Promising.
Yeah, it does not sound.
It's got
promising.
the administration
But
building really liking that at Penn State.
He said, "Whatever I say is not. You're going to write about it, so I'm just going to give you a neutral answer." And neutral answer
That's a good point.
Well,
we don't want neutrality. We can't have clicks with neutrality.
We know what neutrality.
We got 3 hours to carry. We don't need neutral.
We know what a neutral answer means, though, in that situation. It means I will absolutely give this the time of day.
Neutral? Man, we can't fill this time with neutral. We got to have more than that. We don't have much time left, but we're going to fill it with Taco Bell Crunch Time. That's up next with Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Get your day off to a great start with Peter Edmonston and Anthony Sane on Sports 56 mornings. Weekdays from 7 to 10 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 115 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. So easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. Stock up heavy on all of your favorite Dinstall's treats. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Get your gun, Nelly, and saddle up Penelope. It's Western Trading Days at Sunrise Buick GMC. Old-time trading prices on all new Buicks and GMCs, and the Sunrise Used Car Corral has over 150 in stock. Sunrise has rustled up a good-looking herd of cars and trucks under $99.95. Ranch managers have been told to cut prices to the bone. If you're a good person with bad credit, SunriseMemphis.com will help put your brand on one of these fillies. Come on in and save some money during Western Trading Days at Sunrise, Covington Pike, Wolfchase, and Collierville. Cars costless at Sunrise, partner.
The Tigers take on SEC opponent Mississippi State Saturday, September 18th at 3. Tickets are on sale now for just $60, sponsored by FedEx. We'll honor Memphis great and NFL Hall of Famer Isaac Bruce at the game. There will be a commemorative Isaac Bruce rally towel presented by FedEx Employees Credit Association. You don't want to miss this historic game. To lock in your seats for all the action, call 901-678-2331 or visit GoTigersGoTix.com. Saturday, September 18th, Memphis at Mississippi State.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps, fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Hey, Mid-South, it's time to reclaim your freedom in your new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike. Make your mileage count with 43 mpg and lane departure warning in your 2021 Mitsubishi Mirage. $179 per month. Get more standard equipment than Ford Escape or Mazda CX-5 in your new 2022 Eclipse Cross with effortless technology at $299 per month. Plus, relax and enjoy the ride with My Pilot Assist in your new 2022 Outlander, $319 a month. And we stand behind our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 84 months, $500 military rebate. Mirage MH009-694, MSRP $17,490. Outlander NZ023330, MSRP $29,315. Eclipse NZ003186, MSRP $27,725. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF $695. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 9/30/21. Dealer stock only.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, we hit fame. We beat you with the deal, we get insane.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Looking for something new at Taco Bell? Try the original tacos meets the instant classic, nacho fries. There's bound to be some magic. Nacho fries are essentially building blocks for culinary imagination. Slightly seasoned, go with bold spices. Warm nacho cheese and sour cream, loaded taco fries are covered with seasoned beef, nacho cheese sauce, ranch, tomato, and shredded cheese. In short, the legend of nacho fries lives on.
Brett, I learned today that Gary Patterson is not adjusting to the NIL era all that well. He said today in a presser, there's 5 SEC schools calling one of his players and telling him, here's what we'll give you if you come here and not stay at TCU. At the end of the day, that's just real life. If we don't do anything about it, within a year, we lose him. He's saying that at TCU, it's not as easy to keep recruits with the NIL because they're not getting all of their boosters, all of their businesses around town to support the players, and I understand that.
I think with Frank Solich's retirement, I think he's longest tenured coach in current job at TCU, and he's a great one. I learned today, and I mentioned it earlier, after tonight, Washington does not play another NFC team until December 12th against the Cowboys, and then they play rat-a-tat-tat the rest of the year against the NFC East. Also learned, and if you heard her last year in the NCAA tournament, you know why she got the job. And you also, if you've ever listened to League Pass, Lisa Byington getting the play-by-play job with the awesome. Bucks, so necessary and so well earned. And also Joe Lunardi, he had the Tigers yesterday as a 2 seed. I know the bracket, the bids don't get handed out in September, but that just makes it a lot of fun.
It absolutely does. And yeah, that's awesome to see what the Bucks did, and good tidings to her. I hope that works out. What I could have done without today is seeing, and this is a sort of ongoing thing with Calvin Johnson and what's going on with him and the Lions. He's looking to settle the dispute with the Lions, and he says he needs the $1.6 million that they took back from him when he retired in 2015. He retired as one of the best players, if not the best player in Lions history. Give him his due. Give him his $1.6 million. Squash the beef, because this is ridiculous. He gave enough to your franchise. Give it back to him now.
Give it back to him and use him as an ambassador for Lions fans that are trying to cling to something. Isn't that something? The 2 early retirements that the Lions had with Barry Sanders and with Calvin Johnson, they both had a lot of football left.
And what bothers me is they treated Stafford a certain way. They let him leave. They let him get out of there when another coach came in. Why did Calvin Johnson not get the same treatment? And why in retirement, he's already in the Hall of Fame, why are we doing this to him? Just
It should be Calvin Johnson Day and double the check. They got the money.
The beef, give him the money back.
I could have done without, and I know I'm in the minority here, but Paul Azinger doesn't do much for me on golf coverage, and him jumping in the Brooks case, I know he was asked about it.
Right.
He didn't just jump in. He was asked about it. He gave an answer, but sometimes I think he can be a little bit of a repetitive bore, and I really can't take the corn pone stick style on TV, and he's everywhere. If there's a golf tournament, he's practically the analyst on it. He was asked, he gave his opinion on Brooks Koepka. I'm about done with Brooks Koepka and the Bryson DeChambeau battle. I don't care if they yell Brooksy at him or not. And it feels like next week at the Ryder Cup, the team room could turn into Jerry Lawler's event Saturday night at the Fitz.
My gosh, though. With Brooks, I don't really understand why he said what he said. in the manner he did. You have teammates for a reason. This is how it's played.
Is it okay not to care about the Ryder Cup, though, if he does?
Look, I mean, it's fine, but at the same time, if you're going to commit to it, just leave those comments, keep them to yourself, in my opinion. There's no reason to put that out there, that negative attention, but it is what it is. What I'm looking forward to tonight, right now, though, we have the Padres and the Giants. The Padres start a big series with the Cardinals tomorrow. They're up 7-3. Looks like they're going to hold on, and that's huge for the wild card standings. As far as the MLB, not many other games to look forward to, but there is Ohio-Louisiana tonight. We get to watch that, and Bryant says plus 20.5. And also Thursday Night Football, Washington football team hosts New York Football Giants.
The Bryant Dacus Lock of Ages tonight. I love it.
Love it.
Keep a close eye on the quarterback play tonight. Dan Dimes against Taylor Heineke. Can't imagine both these guys will be back next year when they play.
How many
they
turnovers?
may not be
over under 2.5.
Over.
Easy
Easy over.
All right.
Easy over. The next time these two teams play will be January 9th, 2021, last Sunday of the year at MetLife Stadium. They may not be around for that. Also, keeping a close eye. Anybody up for Ohio and Louisiana tonight? Billy Napier will be in a Power 5 job next year. And the baseball tonight, you mentioned it, very light schedule. But the weekend wild card fever takes over. Cardinals never losing another game. Get ready for a fun October, Cardinal fans.
I love that you're committed to this 29-0 stance.
29
I
straight
might hop on.
10
I'm on
season.
board. I'm on board.
We're all hopping on board.
I'm here.
I'm not.
Jay Morgan's not.
Jay Morgan
From the top rope.
categorically not going to be a part of that. What kind of parlay would that pay?
Oh, my gosh.
Big one.
Big.
They don't have odds for 29 nights from now, I'll tell you that.
No, they don't, because they don't know who they'd be playing it. It will be fun over the weekend to see all this wild card action. I guess it makes it fun down the stretch. I was fine all those years just with the East and the West meeting in the LCS. Gabe, great job. Can't wait when we do this every day together, and really appreciate you today. Thank you, Gabe.
Absolutely.
Also want to thank Bill Bender, Keith Smith, Russell Copeland, and Greg Gasson, Bryant and Jay Morgan. Good job, you guys as well. Tomorrow, Dave will be back with us. We've got Friday football forecast. We've got Bruce Marshall. We got Alan Bell. We've got Glenn Rogers. We've got a lot of fun for you tomorrow. Stay with us. For all our crew, everybody have a safe, happy Thursday night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow at 3.
It's finally time to get out of the house. So make sure you stop by Family Leisure with great prices on in-stock and incoming products. Keep the kids active with play gyms, in stock, ready for delivery. And by the way, installation from the pros, I always recommend that. Markdowns on remaining game room products and those beautiful massage chairs. And the hot tubs, they're going fast. Get out of the house and get to Family Leisure. Wooden Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Did you pay a big repair bill on your existing heating and air conditioning system this year? Is your energy-guzzling heating and air conditioning system on its last leg and you think it's worth nothing? Good news, it's buyback days at Conway Services. We'll buy back your repair this year up to $1,500 toward the purchase of select Carrier Infinity systems. That's right, we'll buy back your repair up to $1,500, even if we didn't do the repair. Just show us your repair receipt from any company and we'll buy back that repair. If you didn't have a repair bill this year, we'll give you up to $1,500 trade-in for that old energy-guzzling system toward the purchase of select Carrier Infinity systems. When air conditioning systems get older and inefficient, the cost of repairs and higher utility costs almost pay for a new system. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company today, and the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
No one outfits golfers better than Edwin Watts Golf Shops.
We've been fitting golfers since 1968. Utilizing cutting-edge fitting technology, we'll analyze your swing and our Foresight launch monitors and fit you with the perfect club, pair of shoes, the latest golf apparel, golf balls, bags, and more. So come by today for your complete custom fitting. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Try my best. 3-day weekend for Michael Borquet. Hey, Dad, and I'll try to hold down the fort tomorrow with you for Borky. And hey, Dad, I'm Richard Cross. We'll talk to you tomorrow to wrap up the work week. Good night.